A Sunday afternoon at the beach in Southern California. Sure sounds inviting, doesn't it? But today isn't the relaxing vibe you're imagining. Today is at a more considerable pace. Yes, we're talking IndyCars speeding on the streets with an amazing backdrop. This is Long Beach, California, where racing around here between some of the world's fastest and most famous drivers has been happening for decades. Our analyst, Townsend Bell, couldn't wait to get here and wasn't going to sit in any LA traffic.
Well, along with 100,000 other Southern Californians, this is the way I think to arrive in style. My home race, welcome to the Grand Prix of Long Beach. No more important race outside of the Indy 500 than this place, and it is so fun for once to commute to work, and what better way to do it than out on the water. Welcome to the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Good crowd, great vibe, and perfect weather. Who doesn't love going to the beach?
This is the most important racetrack outside of the Indy 500 on the IndyCar schedule.
All right, everybody, we are 1 minute to the command. Let's listen for it on the PA. 1 minute. Radio check, driver, radio check.
Loud and clear. You know what we're trying to do here to start this thing off? You do you.
Just gotta execute. Be there at the end, man. All right, boys. Been a good weekend so far. Let's finish strong.
There's so much on the line at this historic event. This is Long Beach. Oh, what an afternoon we have in store for you here from Long Beach, California. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. We are ready to go, folks. So great to have you with us. Lee Diffie, along with James Hinchcliffe, recently inducted into the Long Beach Walk of Fame, and Aquaman, here he is, just arriving for work. Not even a drop of moisture on Townsend Bell. That was quite the entrance, mate.
Oh, thanks. A little piece of kelp here if you can get it off my shoulder.
Hey, it's Long Beach. You excited?
Oh, you bet. I mean, this is the home of the gin and juice, but on these streets right here, they've been serving up a cocktail of sun, fun, and horsepower for almost 50 years. This is a big deal, the Long Beach Grand Prix, and you know what it's like to drink the best drink on these streets. That's champagne in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I'll take the champagne for sure. We were lucky enough to do it. And this is one of the races that every driver wants to win. We talk a lot about the Indy 500. You take that off the table. After Indy, this is the most attended event. This is the longest running event, which makes it the next most important event on the calendar. It's such a special place to come race, and it's such a special place to win. Every driver really wants their face in Victory Lane. Little plaque on the pavement there. That's what they're going for today.
Will we see a new winner today? That's one of the questions. And here are some of the stories. If you haven't been with us, 2 races so far this season, 2 different winners. Marcus Ericsson, the reigning Indy 500 champ, and Joseph Newgarden, a 2-time series champ. And the driver who's finished runner-up in both of those races just so happens to be the championship points leader. That's Arrow McLaren's Pato O'Ward. He'll be a contender again today. And talk about a fresh face on the pole position. That is Andretti Autosport's Kyle Kirkwood. This young American is trying to change the fortune of his team, Andretti Autosport.
A lot of time, energy, and resources went into improving this team over the offseason. I think they may have found something for 2023.
Green, green, green.
Side by side, this is where we
The track is total chaos.
looks like Devlin DiFrancesco airborne.
Oh!
Hey, we have a car up and over. Kyle Kirkwood's involved.
You all right? Yeah, I got collected in it.
Both of the flying cars were Andretti Autosport cars. Nearly
Oh, no.
Power just took me out.
And Michael Andretti furious at this point.
There's Grosjean. There's McLaughlin on the right. They may come together.
Oh!
Whoa!
That is now the 4th Andretti Autosport car out of 4.
A tough day for that squad.
It's time to go IndyCar racing in the Lone Star State.
Here we go, here we go. Oh, get up, get up.
Contact on pit road between Kyle Kirkwood and Alexander Rossi.
Oh!
2 cars in the wall. Graham Rahal.
Devlin DiFrancesco as well.
Looks like Grosjean crashed.
Grosjean for the 2nd race in a row.
Really tough start to the season for that group.
The Andretti name, whether behind the steering wheel or in the team owner's role, has such a rich and successful history here on these famed streets of Long Beach, and that's where the team's 4 drivers are starting. Let's go straight to the top with Marty Snyder with the NTT P1 pole winner.
There you go, Kyle Kirkwood, a terrific effort. And to your point, Andretti Autosports won 3 of the last 4 here at Long Beach. Kyle, you're used to running up front throughout your career, but is there a different level of competition you have to learn to run up front in IndyCar?
No doubt. I mean, everyone's going to be fighting for that top position. In IndyCar, we've got 27 guys that can go out and win a race. In the lower categories, it's usually like 3 or 4 that you're fighting against. So it's not going to be as easy as what I've had in the past when I'm starting from the front, but it is more comfortable. My entire career, I used to being up front, and this year, this race is kind of very similar to that because I will be out front in some clean air. So fingers crossed we get through the start really well. If we get through the start, I have a good feeling that we can hang on to it for a while. The scary part is the guys on the split strategy, the guys starting on primaries behind us, because we have a feeling that our alternate tire is going to go off a little bit quicker than what we had last year or the year prior. So it's going to be interesting.
26% of the pole winners, Kevin Lee, have gone on to win the race at Long Beach. Kyle Kirkwood hoping to come through with that as well today.
And Marty, Romain Grosjean will start right behind his teammate. There's not a result to show for the first 2 races, but you've been fast. You've been up front. So what's the assessment of the first 2 as you try to get your season jump started?
I think the season is very positive in terms of performance and what we can do on track. Obviously, now we need to finish races, but again, yesterday we had a shot at poles, so that shows that we're good everywhere right now, and I think the glass is half full, and I'm ready for that one.
Lee, today might be the day Romain Grosjean breaks through and gets that win.
Oh, he's come so close over these opening 2 races, Kevin, hasn't he? Both Townsend and James have driven for Andretti Autosport and know all too well the strength of this racing organisation. But Hinch, let's stay with the Swiss-born Frenchman, Romain Grosjean. Come so close in Florida and in Texas. Is today his day?
He's got a really good shot at it. There's no doubt about it. He had pole in St. Pete, was really fighting for that win before the contact with McLaughlin. Starting 3rd here. A lot of the winners come from the top 5 in qualifying, but there is pressure. Having 2 DNFs to start the season puts you in a huge points hole. He's got big pressure to get his first win and big pressure to get this championship started. But I think he's got a good shot today. What do you think about his teammate Kyle Kirkwood on pole?
Well, I think for Kirkwood, there's the same pressure. Look, it's a huge achievement to get pole position at Long Beach, but that pays 1 point in the championship. A win pays 50 points, and both these drivers need to get to the finish line. How do you do that, though, when the glory of Long Beach, the temptation of aggression starts to creep in? That's what we're going to be watching today.
There are a couple of Honda drivers. Let's talk about a couple of Chevrolet drivers, notably championship leader Pato O'Ward and the most recent race winner, Joseph Newgarden. How about this? In their duel in Texas just a couple of weeks ago, it was phenomenal. And yes, that PPG Chevy of Joseph Newgarden came out on top. He was thrilled with that victory. And this is a pair of drivers we're going to be talking a lot about. Kevin has more with Joseph Newgarden.
Well, Joseph Newgarden and Pato O'Ward have finished 1-2 now 7 times. Joseph has gotten the better hand of that 5 times. So is this a rivalry now between you two?
Well, just call me an angel. I'm in a city full of them. But no, I don't know, what today's going to bring. And this is a very tight field. I'm amped to be here, but I think it's going to be a gnarly race. It always is around Long Beach. Very difficult to get through the start. I feel good about our Hitachi car. I think Team Chevy's done a tremendous job for us to start this year, and we just need to be steady. I think this is building a bit like St. Pete with the tire conditions. It's going to be very different from the green sidewall to the black sidewall tires. So it's how you maximize and utilize that green stint. I think that's going to make the entire day.
The most recent winner here, Joseph Newgarden, starts 8th today.
Well, Kev, let's talk to the other side of the situation of the rivalry, if you will. Pato O'Ward. So do you think there's a budding rivalry between you and Joseph Newgarden?
I mean, we've been rivals for 3 years now. This is the 4th one. But he's a great competitor. I love racing against him. I know I can say the same from his side. So I think it'll be a battle today. He's the defending Long Beach winner. So, yeah, I've personally never won here, so I couldn't tell you how it feels, but I love coming here. I mean, there's a lot of Mexicans that I see around, walking around with Pato t-shirts. So yeah, it's awesome to see. What?
Simon Pagano coming in with a little remark there. So qualifying did not go the way you wanted, starting 6th. So you're driving with a little bit of a chip on your shoulder today.
I mean, well, what happened yesterday happened yesterday. Today's a new day, and we've got a fast race car, so we'll go forward.
There you go. He's been the fastest in every session except qualifying, Diff. Going to be fun to watch Pat O'Ward coming from 6th today.
That's right, Marty. Qualifying didn't exactly go to plan for Joseph Newgarden either. The defending race winner here in Long Beach, T-Bell. It took him 10 attempts to win for the first time here on the streets of Long Beach. Is he worried about Pat O'Ward? Is this a budding rivalry?
I think first and foremost he's worried about his starting position, and that's the thing with both of these drivers, Newgarden and Pato O'Ward. Very accomplished in IndyCar, but they have a tendency to get emotional when things don't go their way. They get fired up, James. Didn't go great for Newgarden. Also, Pato O'Ward pretty frustrated yesterday.
Definitely frustrated. One of the fastest cars all weekend long. And, you know, Pato's got a fiery, kind of flamboyant personality outside the car, and we've seen that translate to his driving inside the car as well. But in 2023, I think we've seen a calmer, more mature Pato outside the car, and that's translated to his driving as well. We've seen 2 really measured drives in the first 2 races. He's got 2 second-place finishes and the championship lead. So today is going to be a huge test to whether or not he's really going to put himself in a position to fight for that championship, be calm and collected, or are we going to see old Pato come, make mistakes trying to get to the front?
That's the words of James Hinchcliffe, who for many years was the most popular driver in IndyCar. That guy you see on your screen there is one of the most popular, if not the most popular now. Look at the throng of fans waiting outside the hauler at the conclusion of the race at Texas Motor Speedway. He's the only driver with his own merchandise stand here at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. They love Pato O'Ward. Wherever we go, he's got a huge personality. He's kind of like a younger version of Helio Castro Neves. He is sure exciting in and out of the car. And exciting is a really good word, an appropriate word for this Long Beach Grand Prix. So many great vantage points, and Dave Burns has more on that. Where are you, Dave?
Well, Lee, I can see the beach from here, but I am far from being at the beach. I like 17 stories from being at the beach. I'll explain when we come back for more coverage of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Welcome back to pre-race coverage of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. I'm Dave Burns, welcoming you 17 stories on top of the Hyatt Regency Hotel with the hardworking Long Beach port in the background, the Queen Mary, the Spruce Goose. It's all here. But what I really wanted to tell you about is the breadth of the fan experience here at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. My friends over here, they've got the ticket this weekend, right? Their seats are on top of the hotel, and they can see Shoreline Drive and all the battles that are going to happen down there. But if you can't get up here, well, behind the aquarium, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Of course, the IndyCar paddock, and then car corrals. There's even bounce houses and bouncy slides inside the convention center. All kinds of things that fans can do down here. And it's a 3-day ticket, it's a 1-day ticket. Just got to get down here to Long Beach to make it happen. So, Lee, as you could expect, I want to spend the day up here. I'd love to call pit stops from up here, but when I asked these guys to trade me the seat, they said I'd have to give them the microphone. Professionally, I cannot do that.
The view, Dave, the vibe, and the stars. Yes, people come from everywhere for this event, including Olympic gold medalist, world champion, and world record holder in the women's 400 meters. That's Sydney McLaughlin-Lavone. She is a star. She'll be a star in Paris next year, and she's talking with our Marty Snyder.
Oh, we're so excited to have Sydney here, and I've got to ask you, Sydney, are you more excited or nervous for your ride in the fastest seat in sport coming up in a moment?
It's a different kind of speed. I'm excited, a little nervous, but I know it's going to be great. These guys are professionals, and I'm excited to feel a different kind of velocity right now.
It will be way different, let me tell you. So you got to meet the other McLaughlin, Scott McLaughlin, the IndyCar driver, a moment ago. He will be in the race today. What questions did you have for him about his day job?
Oh my gosh, we asked him, you know, what is it like going and driving in a regular car? And he said he loves that cruise control, just the time to let his mind relax. So that was really cool. And he's been doing this for a long time, so it's awesome. I'm excited to see him race today.
All right, how is Team USA shaping up on the track side coming into Paris?
We're looking good, man. I think this is one of the best teams we've ever had, so I'm excited to be a part of it, and hopefully we'll come home with some more golds.
Hey, Diff, maybe even Sydney can get some speed tips here. Who knows? But, hey, we have flame-to-flame coverage, Paris 2024, across the NBC family of networks coming up. You'll be a big part of that, won't you, Diff?
Can't wait, Marty, and she is the face of Team USA. Unbelievable stuff that she's done on the track. She's not the only gold medalist here, by the way. Olympics or World Championships. Her teammate, Michael Norman, who also calls LA home. Michael is here. He's going to go for a ride in the fastest seat in sports as well. Do you know what? We used to call him the sneaky Swede, Marcus Ericsson. There's nothing sneaky about him anymore. The Indianapolis 500 winner is firmly in the limelight, and when we come back, he gives us one of his secrets to success.
So this is my helmet for the 2023 season. It's actually based off my design from the 2022 Indy 500. I always make some special design for that race, and this one I think came out really good. It's a retro design.
Marcus Ericsson with the spirit of Ronnie Peterson on board with his helmet.
And then these stripes that goes around the helmet, a bit reminding of Ronnie Peterson, a Swedish Formula 1 driver who was a big inspiration to me.
Marcus Ericsson joins Kenny Brack as the only other Swede.
So the colors of the helmet, blue and yellow, obviously that's because of Sweden. I have the crowns, that's like a national symbol of Sweden. It's very clear, I have my name, I have my number, and on the back here it says the Indy 500. So yeah, that's sort of the story of my race helmet.
There is a lot of nationalistic pride there within the Ericsson camp. Marcus knows some of the Peterson family members. It really means a lot to him, and even more for him to cross the Yard of Bricks last Memorial Day weekend and win his very first Indianapolis 500. Let's show you Chip Ganassi's 4 drivers and where they are starting. 3 in the top 5, Marcus on the front row, and if it wasn't for a little hiccup in qualifying, young Marcus Armstrong may have been up there in the mix as well. But let's talk more about the 6-time champion, Scott Dixon, with Kevin.
And he's one of those that has won this prestigious race before. This is your 16th time at the beach. Why is this one so special to everyone?
I think, the history. I think they're coming up to, in 2 years, they're going to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of Long Beach. But, yeah, the history here, I think, going back through, Grand Prix cars and all sorts. But, obviously, my history here alone, 16 years, as you just said, for IndyCar. And it's so much fun, man. This place, the atmosphere is tremendous.
And there's a lot of cool things to do in Southern California. Tell us what you got to do last night.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. But we were very lucky to go to the Angel FC, football game last night. Julie Ehrman was able to do the 2-seater drive out here at the track. But Tilly, my daughter there, got to do the coin toss, which is very special. She was extremely nervous about that, but I think what Penske Bank has done with equity and equality, and especially in the Women in Motorsports program that we have with Penske Bank and Chip Ganassi Racing, and what they're doing across other platforms and sports is pretty special.
And Tilly is a young soccer player as well. Kid is here. Poppy watching for home back in the UK, so big fun with Scott Dixon Lee.
Good stuff, good vibes to get him going for this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Let's stay with Chip Ganassi, let's stay with that theme. Took Scott Dixon a long time to win here on the streets of Long Beach, by the way, but let's talk championship, Townsend. 4 drivers, you give the rookie a pass, although he would like to be considered a championship contender, but he's not doing all of the races. So of the other 3 Ganassi drivers, who's the biggest threat for a championship?
Well, I think you've got to buy into the Marcus Ericsson hype right now. He starts on the front row today. James, you were on this bandwagon last year. I wasn't ready yet. And I don't think I was ready because I don't think Marcus Ericsson himself believed that he was a legitimate championship contender until this offseason. He got a mental coach in the offseason. He doubled down on focusing on the process and not necessarily the result. And I think this guy has everything together now. He believes, and that's the most important part.
He has made America his home. The former F1 driver, not in his wildest dreams, could have thought that he would live in Indianapolis and be an Indy 500 winner. So he's loving life, Hinch. Let's turn the page. Let's talk about Team Penske. None of their 3 drivers made it into the Firestone Fast 6 in qualifying. What's their path to victory lane today?
You got to do something different than the cars in front, and that's what they're doing. They're starting on the primaries. Most of the cars in front of them are starting on the alternates. They're going to have the yellows sort of fall away to get all the way to the front, but you do have to mix it up a little bit. So I think they're being smart. All 3 of the Penske cars are starting on those primary tires. This is a tough place to pass, though, so they're going to need a little bit of help to get up there. Lots of quick cars in front of them.
We talk a lot, of course, and naturally so, about the Indianapolis 500. All roads lead to that Memorial Day weekend classic. But outside of that, this is the event that all of the drivers and teams want to win. Look at where we are. We're having a motor race here. Are you kidding? And we've been racing here since the mid-1970s. This is Long Beach, and we're almost ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise, if you are able, and remove your hats as the soldiers from the Long Beach Army Recruiting Company present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Chaplain Chuck Lessick of IndyCar Ministries offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Lord God, to invite you into our race. Thank you for both the as we look to you for a safe yet exciting afternoon of IndyCar racing. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Here today to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Tim Kepler.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
How cool is that? Closing in on the green flag of one of the best events of the year, the Command, coming up in moments.
Who doesn't love going to the beach? This is Long Beach. Good crowd, great vibe, and perfect weather. This sunny afternoon in Southern California is all about IndyCars flying around these famed streets. Now it's time to have some fun.
Watch as he caught hard at the wall.
He's on the outside for turn 6. Side by side.
Oh my goodness. Just Marcus Ericsson in the wall.
Grosjean gets an excellent launch. Joseph Newgarden is a Long Beach Grand Prix winner.
Long Beach, guys.
Woo! NBC Sports, your home of motorsports, welcomes you to Southern California and round 3 of the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series. This is the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Yes, these famous streets are ready to come alive again with IndyCar racing. Been happening since 1984. Mario Andretti, the first winner. And that Andretti name proudly lives on with the pole position winner. We've got a whole lot to tell you about on a sunny Sunday afternoon by the beach. Hinch, you've won this event. This Thursday, you were inducted into the Walk of Fame. You know how special this is.
It is, and those shots just show you how special it is. The people here, the atmosphere, the vibe, and you talked about it, Diff, the history, the longest running race outside of the Indy 500. You may not get your face on a Borg-Warner trophy, but a win here, you get your face in bronze in the pavement down in Victory Lane, and that's what all the drivers want to do. This is such a special event to be at, such a special event to win at, and I think we're going to see a lot of action on track trying to make it happen.
That's James Hinchcliffe, Lee Diffie, and Townsend Bell, who also knows what the winning feeling is like here on these streets. T-Bell, they're inviting, but there can be trouble.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is there's sunshine and smiles outside of the fences, but in the cage, it is aggressive and violent. This was David Malukas over in turn 4, losing the back end of his car. Turn 5, boom, big hit for Callum Ilott, cases the bottom of the car into the tire wall. And then Marcus Armstrong, the American Legion car, having the tires of 9, but then all the way around the track, even the last corner, the slowest corner on the track, a lot of nose to tail, some bumping and rubbing going on there with Will Power and Kyle Kirkwood, and the fans love it. They love to see the action and all the drama in every corner of this track.
This series is so unpredictable. We don't know who's going to win week to week, and that's what attracts these fans, including the high speeds, the risk, the danger, but the excitement and the variety where the drivers come from, their stories, what they've got to tell, and what they do on the track. Right, Dave Burns?
Exactly right, Lee, and that concludes the Swiss-born driver, Romain Grosjean. I think we've told folks in the past how much he loves being in the NTT IndyCar Series, but I think I saw that on display yesterday here in qualifying when Grosjean, who did not get the fastest position, congratulated his teammate with so much joy, so much exuberance. And I think the other thing is he knows that being with Andretti, he's got a shot at his first win every week that he shows up. He has said as much. On this street course, it could happen today. This could be Romain Grosjean's first win in IndyCar, and he starts third. Kevin Lee?
Dave Colton Herta is one of 2 Californians in this race, but this is his hometown race. He grew up 60 miles north of here, came here first time, 2 weeks old to watch his dad Brian race, and won it a couple of years ago. He says this is the race that made him want to become an IndyCar driver, and one advantage that he might have today, starting 7th, he's the only one of the front runners in the top 12 that has an extra set of those softer, faster alternates, Marty.
Kevin, Joseph Newgarden's the defending winner of the Long Beach race. Took him 10 tries to get it done, but he finally got that coveted win here in the 47th running of the event. He told me, I was not very happy with qualifying, but I am very happy with our race pace. And they've already made a move. Starting 8th, he's gone with the primary tires. He and Pato O'Ward going with these primaries. So an interesting strategy move, Lee, early on here by Joseph Newgarden. They'll see if they can run long, maybe gain some track position, and get a second straight Long Beach win.
Oh, it's an annual story, Marty, isn't it? Who's going to do what? Who's going to play that strategic game the best, which is always a story in the NTT IndyCar Series, whether we're on a road course, a street course, an oval, or whether we're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. By the way, the Indy 500 coming up this Memorial Day weekend. You'll see it exclusively right here on NBC. Let's show you the points after 2 of 17 races. Pato O'Ward with consecutive runner-up spots. He's the man on top.
He's getting the finishes. He's disappointed not to win, James, but he leads the championship. In fact, it was O'Ward and Ericsson at the Indy 500 last year battling out for the win. Ericsson got it done, and O'Ward laid out. And in a potentially aggressive moment, he decided to take the points and not crash. He's driving for championships these days.
Well, that's just it. That's the mentality you need to win a championship in this series. But then you also look at a guy like Joseph Newgarden, who had a mechanical failure in St. Pete, but that win in Texas vaulted him up 14 places in the championship. So wins are important too. Finding that balance is just so difficult.
Look, you've got manufacturer activation, you've got fan places, you have got the concession area, you've got car corrals, and just this downtown vibe by the beach. That's why this place is packed, and we are almost ready to go racing. 85 laps around this almost 2-mile street circuit. Yes, with iconic places like the renowned fountain here, which sometimes is a trouble spot during this Acura IndyCar Grand Prix of Long Beach. Will it be again today? Sometimes some drivers have ended up in the flowers. We're ready to get this going, so let's go down trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, the center for the Anaheim Ducks, Adam Henrique.
Drivers, start your engines.
It is almost time to bring the action. The cars are fired, they're about to roll, and we're going to go racing here in Long Beach. Ready to go for a new racing season here in St. Pete.
Huge accident, more damage in the back. The track is total chaos.
We made it through. The top 2 are into the tires.
Ready to go.
Pato O'Ward could win.
Oh, guys, problem.
Ericsson to the lead.
Let's go!
Texas Motor Speedway, high speeds, high risk, lots of action.
Buckle up, fellas. This is going to get wild.
Inches between cars at 200+ miles, and now
There's nowhere to go, man.
The 2 strongest cars all day run side by side.
They almost hit.
You are the leader, my man.
Newgarden has done it. Let's check in with a driver who's still in search of his first IndyCar win. Here's Romain Grosjean with James.
Hey, Romain, it's Hinch up in the NBC booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes.
Well, hey, buddy, great start to the season pace-wise, but the results haven't quite been there. Andretti Autosport very quick so far here this weekend, but how important is it for you to get a result, get some points on the board, and really kickstart your season?
Well, it's key. So we're going to do everything we can to achieve that. We've got a good car, got good pace, so pretty excited about that. And yeah, we should see the first thing is going to be very important for us.
Well, we're excited to watch and see what you can do, bud. Best of luck. Go get them.
Thank you.
That's the former F1 driver who stood on a Formula One podium 10 times. He's been on the IndyCar podium, but he's yet to win. It could be today. He was magical here last year. As we take you to our Acura starting grid, his Andretti Autosport teammate Kyle Kirkwood starts on the pole.
Yeah, and he's got two really experienced champions, teammates, Dixon and Palou just behind him. So Grosjean's got his work cut out for him further back. Some muscle back there. Watch Graham Rahal in that number 15 car. He's always great on the starts. He picks up opportunistic moments at the right time and manages to pull off miracles.
All right, time for the Honda track preview. Hinch, take us around.
What a great racetrack. Turn 1, a lot of action, a lot of passing opportunities there. Iconic turns like the fountain there through turns 2 and 3. We saw some big accidents in turn 5 because of the curbs. Turn 6, where Romain Grosjean is right now, is right along him. This is a new pavement section for the year, and turn 8's got a whole new challenge with this big bump, Townsend.
Yeah, that bump is right there. Don't see it under the pace lap, but you will see it as speed. As we thank Honda for the track preview, we'll see that bump on lots of onboards today.
Leading this field to green here in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach is the 2023 Acura NSX. With that Japanese anime Chaki design. It's very cool. Look, if you're watching in southern Florida, particularly on the east coast around the Jupiter area, Fort Lauderdale, anywhere around there, this is your man. 24-year-old Floridian Kyle Kirkwood is leading this field to green in all of the junior categories. This guy knows nothing but winning. IndyCar last year in his rookie year was a tough task, but now he heads this star-studded field at the biggest event outside the Indianapolis 500. The Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach is away, and Kirkwood gets a great start.
Kirkwood, no stranger to leading the junior formulas, but this is his first time in the big leagues as Ericsson goes to the outside.
Pato O'Ward trying to make it 3 wide. It's going to be Kyle Kirkwood leading, but side by side, Grosjean and Joseph Newgarden heading into the fountain. This is one lane only, Townsend.
Indeed it is. They file in, well, 2 wide there for Will Power, and already, is that Helio Castroneves in the wall? It is.
Helio Castroneves, the 4-time Indianapolis 500 winner, smashes into the wall and is out of this race.
Front wing is effectively gone, folded up on the car, and then backed into the wall.
Now they can get that back and get it fixed, but he is out of contention for any great result here. He is a Long Beach winner, and what a shame for the Meyer Shank, the Auto Nation Sirius XM car. Oh, just as soon as we go green, we go yellow.
And let's figure out what happened, James. You called it. It's normally single groove through here. Castroneves comfortably inside the number 45 of Christian Lundgaard. Did he get tapped?
No, I think
or did
he just
lose it?
I think he took a lot of curb into turn 1. Yeah, cold tires, Townsend. You know, the cars at the back of the grid. Long Beach is so unique in the way that last corner really spreads out the back of the grid on the start. They're arriving with a lot more speed, didn't quite have the heat in the tires, took a lot of curb, got aggressive on the throttle, and that was enough to pitch him around.
So critical here. If they can fire up Castroneves, the leaders are just about to come through turn 1. He might be able to just go to the back of the pack, but I think they're going to hold on. No, they're giving it the start. Oh, he stalled it.
Oh, that could be the difference right there. You managed to keep the car out of the wall. I think all the suspensions pointed the right direction. The leader's coming now.
It's going to be so close. There he goes. He just made it.
Look at that. In the nick of time to stay on the lead lap.
Keep going.
But he's got to get all the way around at speed and try to get a gap. They're going to tell him to stay on the racetrack until he packs up to the tail end, but he has absolutely no downforce on the front of that race car. However, if the thing hits square into the wall and it just needs a nose and wing, Helio Castroneves might be okay to have a challenge from the very back on the lead lap.
And there is the Meyer Shank crew getting ready for the 06 Honda. What a shame. All right, so while Elio scrambles and we're under caution, not even a full racing lap complete, let's take you to the global medical response, or the GMR track facts. There has been so much IndyCar and racing in general, Formula One, Formula 5000. We had the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship race yesterday. So much racing history on these famed streets, and there's some important numbers on your screen right there.
I'm surprised Elio Castroneves came straight to the pits and didn't stay out to catch the field, because the leader Kirkwood and the pace car are in turn 9, and I think we're told now that IndyCar officials insisted that he come to the pits. This is so key now, is getting this wing on, James, swiftly.
Yeah, there's a connection that they have to make there. It's a tether to make sure the nose cone doesn't fly off. That's the thing they're trying to mess with right now. Kevin, what do you know down there?
Right now, the plan is to only change the front wing. They're not looking at any other suspension parts, so they're hoping that that's the only issue. They don't seem to be concerned, so they are back out, and I think stayed on the lead lap, Marty.
Kevin, you don't hear Scott Dixon upset very much, but he is livid about the start of the race. He started 5th. He has lost 2 spots. Here's why he's upset. Hinch, I'd love to get your take on this. He said both Pat O'Ward and Joseph Newgarden were on the gas before the leaders were on the gas. We mentioned earlier those were the 2 cars in the top 10 that were on the primary tire, so a quick start for them was uber critical. Dixon not happy. He lost 2 spots. What do you think?
Yeah, you can't be mad at the drivers in that case. When you look at it, they're just trying to catch up to the back of the field. Like I was saying earlier, Long Beach is so unique in that it's the only track we go to where you can't run side by side through the last corner. You can't start forming up too wide until you get on the straightaway, and the cars that are 5th, 6th, 7th are just trying to catch up to the group if the green flag is thrown early. So that's really nothing the drivers can do there.
Good to get a look at that replay. There was actually a little side-to-side, wheel-to-wheel contact between Marcus Ericsson, Kyle Kirkwood, and Joseph Newgarden, with the flyer going from 8th to 4th, flying down into turn 1. There's Elio Castroneves having to watch everybody go by.
He almost made it. We didn't quite. You just saw the onboard of Castroneves, the pace car driven by Oreo Servia, just passing him on pit lane. That was so close, and what a kick to the gut to start this race, knowing that he almost held on. So now Castroneves, a lap down, has to let the field by for this restart.
This place is hard enough as it is without being a lap down.
The bummer is it looks like the rest of his car is perfectly fine despite pretty big impact. It's the nose cone that took all of the hit.
All right, you ready to do it again? Let's repack, let's regroup, and let's get ready to go again. Watch Scott Dixon. If he's fired up inside that helmet, what's he going to do at this restart?
And look for anybody maybe trying to be cheeky on the inside of the hairpin here. As soon as the green flag flies for the leaders,
let's get ready.
You can race. So there you go.
Dixon thought about it.
He's right with his teammate there in that bright green car. That's Alex Palou right behind him in that yellow and black car. The Gamebridge Honda is Colton Herta. Back to racing here on the streets of Long Beach, and Kyle Kirkwood has gone. Takes off on a beautiful restart.
I'm looking at Colton Herta on the outside of Scott Dixon here. You don't want him in your mirrors. He is so good at passing here at Long Beach. Won the race from 14th on the grid. One of only a handful of drivers who's won from further back than 5th. And as we ride on board the Gamebridge Honda, he is all over the back of that blue and orange machine of Scott Dixon.
Alex Palou's been looking pretty racy. That green car on the back of Pato O'Ward had a pretty aggressive looking start. He goes to the inside, into 6th. Nice move.
And that's the difference between the primaries and the alternates. The number 10, Alex Palou, as we look at Scott Dixon maybe try to cross over, he's on those softer alternate tires with the green sidewalls. That's going to give him more grip, especially on these restarts, as now Scott Dixon's looking to make that move on O'Ward, who's on the primaries.
But watch for O'Ward a little later on. We'll follow that story for you as this race goes on. Let's go for a ride with Colton Herta. Have a listen to the throttle out of the hairpin.
Just looking at the Firestone telemetry down Shoreline. How fast can Colton Herta go in the draft?
You see the green lights on the dash all over the push to pass, now active.
186 miles an hour into a really hard brake zone, and then you file into this fountain section, hanging onto the back. And O'Ward, like we talked about, really kind of struggling to hold position here on the harder tire for now.
200 seconds of push to pass, by the way. You can deploy it in as much as 20-second distributions. We'll see who uses it the wisest. Here's a couple of teammates here on screen. Remember now, in 2023, 3 Arrow McLaren cars, and diving on the inside in the NTT Data number 7 machine, that's Alexander Rossi.
And guys, that's a move that you would not have seen before that repave. It was so bumpy on the inside of turn 8 there, that would have been really hard to do. So great to see that those improvements to the racetrack are improving the passing opportunities for these drivers.
And an interesting team dynamic here. With Rossi, you've got a guy that's just joined the organization. He's got a multi-year contract. And Felix Rosenquist, you've got a guy that's been on the team, but no guarantee of a future with this race team. So all of those subtleties play out as the cat and mouse game, even within your own race team, plays out here on the streets.
Let's not forget about the fact that the second-year IndyCar driver, first-time pole winner, Kyle Kirkwood, leads the way and has almost a 1-second advantage, Dave, over Marcus Ericsson, the Indy 500 champ.
And Leah, remember what he told Marty Snyder in the pre-race show, that he's very comfortable being up front there, loves that clean air. In fact, in every professional open-wheel series that Kyle has ever raced in, he's had a pole position, so he knows that feeling. His concern, the cars coming behind him later in this first stint on the harder alternate tires, like Pato O'Ward. Will that happen? We'll keep our eye on it.
He's enjoying this view. He's used to this view. He's only had it once in his brief IndyCar career. That was last year at Texas. We're racing. We're up and running here at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. It's Kyle Kirkwood, the 24-year-old American, who leads the way over the reigning Indianapolis 500 winner Marcus Ericsson, and then Romain Grosjean is third. Joseph Newgarden, the defending race winner, is fourth, and Alex Palou in the top 5 on the streets, where he was crowned a champion. This is Callum Ilott in the 77 for Juncos Hollinger Racing. And you saw during that break, he dove for the pit, and this is the reason why.
Had a puncture to the right front. Oh! Clipped the wall really hard. And I got to think there's more damage than just the tire there. Started to come apart on this in lap. He had to come to pit lane for the tire change. He went a lap down, and now he's just in the middle of the lead lap pack.
He may have gotten away without any more damage. Oh, that was close. Trying to nurse it back to the pits with the tire off like that or going off like that. It's so frustrating, Townsend. You know, you want to get back as quickly as possible, but if you go too fast, you can actually do so much more damage to that car. You can see the rim just shattered.
And that really hurts. That hurts twice as hard, Dave, because this British driver was in 7th in points coming into this race. He's going to drop now.
And it's been a tough weekend for him. A practice crash on something that maybe wasn't entirely his fault, and he was just upset about that. And then had unreasonable qualifying issue. That contact with the ball, that wheel was destroyed. That was pretty hard contact. So he's got to come out of this, hopefully this weekend, with something. What can they do from here, being off the pace? They had just come down pit road to put on these primaries. They start on the alternates, so we have that for strategy, but it's going to be a long day for Callum.
You see Will Power there in the Verizon Chevy just whip on by. Unfortunately, qualifying wasn't great for Will Power either. None of the Penske trio made it into the Firestone Fast 6. Highest placed Penske Chevrolet driver at the moment, Joseph Newgarden in 4th. Here's the race leader, Kyle Kirkwood. Was tipped by many to be Rookie of the Year last year. It did not materialize. It was a rough year. He only had one top 10, fellas. Guess where that was?
Right here.
Right here on these streets. So he's got some good mojo.
You know, and something that I think for me really stood out about Kirkwood last year, tough rookie season. A lot of crashes, James. Never really got rattled. Never really questioned himself. He processed what happened, but he didn't buy into the anxiety that we all had for his career at that moment. Maybe that's because he knew all along that he had this opportunity, this great contract with Andretti and Auto Nation for year 2. But here at Long Beach today, everything I'm seeing on board and outside the car suggests he is totally comfortable, totally confident, and within himself leading an IndyCar race.
Yeah, he's doing an absolutely great job. You can hear him just saving a little bit of fuel now, Townsend, trying to take care of those alternate Firestone tires. The teams are going to want to do a 2-stopper, that's for sure. Those yellow laps at the start are going to help that fuel save number. To make the 2-stopper work, though, you do have to save a little bit, and that means you have to run these alternate tires for a decent length stint. And we know they're faster, but they do fall off more. in warm-up, it was a little bit of a mixed bag about who actually ran them long to see what that degradation level was like, but so far out front, this 27 is absolutely doing a great job.
Kyle Kirkwood is in his natural habitat, and what I mean by that, he's in the sunshine by the sea. Grew up in Florida, still lives the majority of the time in Florida. He loves surfing, he loves diving, he loves snorkeling. This is where he likes to be, and he's performing at his best.
He likes to chill, and he's chilling right now at the front. How do we know that? Well, look at the push-to-pass seconds remaining. Kirkwood's felt no pressure from behind. He hasn't even touched the button. Smooth sailing right now at the beach, Marty.
Towns on the weekend got off to a terrific start for Pato O'Ward. Fastest in first practice, fastest in second practice, and then qualifying did not go so well. I asked him this morning, I think in the past you would have let that get to you. He said, you're probably right, but I have a different approach this year. I'm taking it literally weekend by weekend, session by session, lap by lap, and whatever happened in the past is in the past. I am focused forward, and I think even on this run, he restarted fifth. He's fallen back a little bit. So Hinch, talk about Pato O'Ward kind of driving sort of within himself this year and how that's changed him as a driver.
Yeah, we've definitely seen that maturity out of Pato O'Ward that was maybe missing in his first few seasons in IndyCar, both inside the car and outside of the car. He's a more confident guy. He seems to know that this is his place. There was some distractions last year with the Formula One opportunity being dangled in front of him by that man right there, the team owner of McLaren, Zach Brown. But now he knows his home's in IndyCar, his future's in IndyCar, and he's really settling in nicely to very strong, very mature drives in the first two races of the season, and that's why this team is atop the points right now.
Zach Brown taking in all the glory of the Long Beach weekend. He was in a vintage Williams Formula One car.
Alan Jones, 1980 World Championship winning
car. Southern California native Zach Brown, team principal at McLaren F1 and McLaren IndyCar, having tons of fun in the sun.
And Townsend, to the point about Formula One that James made a second ago, it's actually here last year, Saturday night in his hotel room, and he just woke up and O'Ward said to himself, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I putting myself through all this pressure? If my home is IndyCar, that's okay. If F1 happens, he told me this morning, Hinch, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I love being here in IndyCar, and he's certainly a star right now. Pato O'Ward mania is a real thing.
And look, in addition to the throng of supporters, maybe there is a period of maturation here with this young Mexican driver, because I spoke to him after Texas where he had to swallow that bitter pill again of finishing runner-up for the second consecutive race, and he had a very philosophical view. He said, hey, the racing gods weren't looking on me today. I'll take what I got and I move on. In the past, he got a little bit more fired up than that. So maybe he's having a holistic view of this racing season, and maybe, just maybe, that's why he is the NTT IndyCar Series championship leader. Already 16 laps into this 85-lap Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Time now for the Honda driver profile, and it's one of the young stars of this series. None other than California's own Colton Herta, who knows how to win. He's done it here. This is his home race, although he lives in Nashville, Tennessee now. This guy is one of the future faces of the NTT IndyCar Series.
And you gotta love that. Celebrates race wins with tacos. Luckily, his race team has King Taco on board. See that year after year here at Long Beach? Sometimes they make their way to the booth mid-race.
I asked him about the King Taco Association the other day, and I said, was that because we spoke about it on air, or you used to do the tacos after winning in your go-kart days? He said, do you know that King Taco has been with the Herta family way back to when my dad raced?
No way.
My dad even had King Taco on his helmet back in the day. So that's pretty cool.
Speaking of his dad, this is the second race where Colton Herta does not hear Father Brian and former IndyCar driver on the radio. They made the switch, Andretti, the team did, moving Scott Harner from the 27 Kyle Kirkwood's team over. Kirkwood gets Brian Herta on his stand and on the radio. So far, Colton having a decent race, Kyle Kirkwood having a great race.
If you're a Scott Dixon fan, there's some alarming news. Not too bad, but that's a scuff of the wall that Scott Dixon and the PNC Bank Honda team did not want to see.
You know, when you hit square like that, you can get away with it. The edge of the floor right below the side pod actually sits a few fractions of an inch out further than the wheels and tires themselves. So if you hit it square, you can sometimes just sort of bounce off of the floor and not affect it too much. We did see a little bit of tire mark there, so he did rub it, but I don't think it was enough to bend anything.
Things starting to get tight here. That's the white and black car at Joseph Newgarden on that harder primary tire with a great run down shoreline on Grosjean. Looks outside, ducks inside.
And he's going to get him. Under brakes into turn 1,
Outside.
Joseph Newgarden.
Clear.
That means he's made up 5 positions from the drop of the green flag in the Hitachi Chevrolet, and the defending race winner wants to defend that victory. He's on the move.
And Marty, we've been talking about this all weekend. Penske, strong over a long run, good at taking care of the tires, but they don't have that one-lap speed on new tires. They're starting to show that muscle, that durability at this point in the stint.
Yeah, Joseph Newgarden called that shot Friday afternoon, didn't he, with that first practice session? But Newgarden was the real winner from the start of the race. Started 8th, gained 4 spots on the first lap. That does not happen very often. And what you're seeing right now, that call to start the race on the primaries, really coming to fruition. Kevin, he's been the fastest car on the track for the last 5 laps.
And the young man that won this race 2 years ago, Californian Colton Herta, is hoping that a tire advantage comes into play. He has the extra set of the softer alternates, but he told me this morning, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to use those. We want to get rid of the alternates and then go primaries the rest of the way, unless somehow we get a shorter stint, and then we would have that for the last stint of the race. Dave.
This is for Townsend, who was telling a story about Brian Herta being Kyle Kirkwood's signal caller now. Here's the recent radio.
Let me know if Tato starts slicing through. No, not yet, not yet. You're doing fine. We're okay. Pace is good. First car in black says Newgarden P4, but he isn't passing anybody. He did that all on the start. Okay, cool.
So the driver wanted to know about those 2 drivers, O'Ward and Newgarden. When I talked to Brian Herta this morning about the new relationship, he was so excited. He said, extra special to see Kyle Kirkwood on the pole. He said, for my son Colton, I've seen all of his first pole, first start, first win. Oh, and now you got a car in the barrier there. But Brian would love to see the first win today.
Scott Dixon, we saw him tag the wall. We showed you that replay, and now he is in to the tire barrier at turn 8. It is a regular trap, no matter what the form of racing here on the streets of Long Beach. But what happened to Dixon?
Look at those skid marks there. Early lockup, both left sides and right sides. You can see the tracks. Braking issue, Hinch. I wonder what oh, Pato, is that?
That is Pato.
Pato O'Ward inside.
Like I said, this kind of move, you never would have seen this last year or in the last bunch of years here at Long Beach. That new pavement just giving drivers the confidence of throwing it down the inside. And let's see it from Pato's onboard.
And I'm sure Dixon was just surprised.
That's a late move.
It came late, but the contact was square, shoulder to shoulder, perfect alignment. And I would assume IndyCar calls that a racing incident.
Well, that one's on the edge for sure, because you got to think from Scott Dixon's standpoint, he's turned in, committed to the corner, not thinking anyone was there. Then after he's committed his rolling speed, his turn-in point, the car shows up. One thing IndyCar looks at in that type of contact is, what is the outcome? Do both cars go off, come back on? Does one keep going and one's race ruined? So,
and a lot of times it's the pendulum of responsibility.
The needle of responsibility. That's how they use it.
Either one of them.
That's how they call it.
The pendulum.
This is the driver in the series nobody wants to upset. There is so much respect and reverence for this man here, the 6-time champion.
Absolutely. I mean, he is widely regarded throughout the paddock as the greatest of the generation, without a doubt. There is not a weakness in Scott Dixon's game. He is, you know, an elder statesman, so to speak, in the series now, but a lot of the drivers look up to him, his opinion. He's been through a lot in this series. And
but here's the thing also, Hinch, that I think you got to take into consideration is the tires, right? Pato on the harder compound, Dixon on the softer compound. Pato's watching Newgarden go forward. Dixon knows this is the point in the stint that you should see the crossover. How much does that weigh into the needle of responsibility in that situation? So I just think that in terms of race control, looking at this, to me it's a racing incident. I do agree Pato came from far back, but for the situation of the stint with the tire compounds, it was on.
And the other part to remember is, again, there's not a lot of experience with being passed there, because in the past, it's not been a passing opportunity. Marty, what do you know?
Well, whether race control calls it or not, just remember Scott Dixon was not very happy with Pato O'Ward from the start of the race and the way he started the race. So I'm sure this is not going to dissuade him at all for his anger for the 5.
Yeah, this will be a to be followed topic for sure. By the way, that was for 4th place, because you see, rather 6th place, you see Alex Palou in the top 5 up ahead of Pato O'Ward. So 2nd full course caution of this race, still in the early part.
We will pit.
Pits are open, and you're hearing the call there from the various pit boxes. We will pit. So let's see what goes down here. It's been a fairly calm race thus far, except for those 2 caution periods. A lot of lead followed. This is going to jumble things up. Let's see who gets out of the pits the best. Kevin Lee standing by. Take it away, Kev.
Marcus Ericsson has already won on a street course this year. 3 of his 4 wins on the streets. No changes this time. He has an easy in coming in off the weave around Scott McLaughlin and come back out. A lot of traffic, Dave.
Brian Herta called the timing of this caution pretty much ideal. So is his entry onto pit road. Kyle Kirkwood away with brand new primaries.
Within the window, Dave, to make it to the end on just one more stop. You see Joseph Newgarden, who storms through the field on the primary tires. He goes to the alternate tires and then gains 4 spots here on pit road. He'll leave 2nd right behind Kirkwood.
My goodness, did you see that Hitachi Chevy just fishtailing out into the fast lane on pit road? Joseph Newgarden knew the desperation. There's Kyle Kirkwood getting by. Newgarden didn't want to lose a spot and puts himself behind the race leader. Whoa. We're back. Welcome back here to Long Beach, California. Always great to make this annual trip out west for one of the sport's most famous events. The honor roll of winners here, the who's who of motorsport. By the way, if you're into motorsport history, the legend Jackie Ickx, 6-time Le Mans 24-hour winner, Formula One Grand Prix winner, Paris-Dakar winner, World Sports Car Champion. Yes, he is here. He was honored by the Road Racing Drivers Club on Thursday night. Jackie and his wife are here and really enjoying their time. We got to talk to him a little bit before the pre-race show. Let's relive this wild moment off pit lane with Joseph Newgarden.
Beautiful piece of driving diff from Newgarden, slipping the clutch, working the tire spin, and all the while just avoiding Kyle Kirkwood. Great stuff on pit lane.
And we've talked a lot about pit lane in the last little while. Contact leads to penalties, so great job from both these drivers to avoid touching each other and any of the members in pit lane. It's so tight down there.
So that gives Newgarden a fair shot, a square shot at Kyle Kirkwood. Now, Agustin Canapino stayed out. That's the black and green car you see there. He is off sequence with everybody else. So Kirkwood is ostensibly the race leader. You see Helio Castroneves there in the mix. The pink car you see 3rd is Kirkwood, then Newgarden. We're back to racing in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Kind of a weird situation because Castroneves is sort of trapped. He didn't get the wave around, and now you've got Callum Eilert coming out of the pits in front of his teammate. This is going to stack up all the true race leaders, starting with Kirkwood going back. Watch the frustration develop here quickly.
Oh boy, did you see Marcus Ericsson get sideways on acceleration there in that white and red Husky chocolate Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. Sideways goes Canapino.
And that allows Helio Castroneves now to try to get around Canapino. He's going to do it on the outside of turn 6, side by side, as we see one of the McLarens, Pato O'Ward, going inside of Grosjean.
Oh, it's on. Slow. Look at this. Down to turn 8. Here comes O'Ward again. Pato O'Ward spins. Ericsson hits him. Kirkwood gets away with it.
And O'Ward thought, oh, I got Scott Dixon. Now I can get Kyle Kirkwood. But it was too much, too late. And O'Ward goes backwards.
That was desperate from the championship leader.
Imagine what Kyle Kirkwood's dealing with right now. He was leading comfortably. Now he's got lap cars and chaos as Newgarden's in the lead.
My goodness, what a wild restart. Cars out of mix, out of the order. Scott McLaughlin has vaulted his way up there. Here goes Newgarden. He wants to get through this traffic. This is Helio Castroneves wheel to wheel in turn 1. The defending race winner is clear of that. There's just one more, and he's going to take off with a clear road ahead.
Now remember, Joseph was able to switch onto those softer alternate tires. They were always going to be better on the restart, as we saw Castroneves get big sideways there. So it's no surprise Newgarden was able to get ahead of the 27 of Kyle Kirkwood, but eventually, as we saw in that stint, those alternates are going to start falling off and come back towards the primary runners.
Kyle Kirkwood just needs to stay calm right now, but further back, nobody's calm as Agustin Canapino continues to fall through the field. And James, the sun is fully out now, and the track temperature is rising quickly, now 106 degrees. So to your point, Newgarden has to make these tires last as the heat rises.
All right, let's take you back, show you what happened on that lap from the restart. Check this out. You're on board with Kyle Kirkwood. There's Canapino gets sideways. Kirkwood hits him. There goes Newgarden flashing by on the run downhill to turn 8. This is Pato O'Ward. Watch this move and spin.
Oh, boy.
Just so impatient. We talked about it at the top of the show. That's not the kind of move you need to make at that part of the race. He's got those alternate tires on, got in way too deep, trying to pass Marcus Ericsson, got all the way up to the car in front and Kyle Kirkwood. So within 2 corners, your former leader Kirkwood was hit twice.
Yeah, and the other thing was Canapino clipped the wall too at the apex of turn 6. So that's really what stacked everybody up as Canapino was trying to figure out if his race car was even drivable. That was on board with Grosjean.
Another on-board look here, and with the car stop there, the number 5 contact with Ericsson, that's damage probably to the 8. We saw the 10 of Alex Palou get caught up on the outside of this wreck. He lost a lot of time as well. We see Scott McLaughlin going by. There's a replay, David Malukas.
Oh boy, all locked up and over that orange line and then runs deep into turn 1. David had a big accident yesterday, was cleared by IndyCar Medical early this morning, and he was okay to partake in the morning warm-up. And of course, this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, there has been some big movers in this most recent portion of the race, like Scott McLaughlin, like Alexander Rossi. He's in the mix. Romain Grosjean got lucky there at turn 8, ducking up the inside. Marcus Armstrong, the rookie, is running in the top 10. That's pretty good. Here comes Ericsson on Rossi. Is there any damage to the front left of his wing where he clipped Pato O'Ward in that altercation? Just at a quick look there, it looks fine.
Looks fine, and certainly looks fine in terms of performance, outbraking Rossi going into turn 1. Watching the pace, too, from Kirkwood there, just 1.1 seconds behind Newgarden. And boy, I feel like Kirkwood just escaped total disaster there with those slower cars on the restart. A hard-charging O'Ward. It's just a massive break for the young American Kirkwood to still be in second. Let's head back down to pit lane, learn more about the 27, Dave.
And so to your point there, Townsend, he did escape all that. No word on the radio to any of the contact causing damage for Kyle Kirkwood. He was warned that on the restart, Newgarden would be on those softer tires and maybe coming through. He was not warned that that could all happen. But hey, that's just about IndyCar racing. He now runs second, Kevin.
Dave, as you might have guessed, and as Hinch said, there could be some damage with Marcus Ericsson, but they have telemetry to help monitor those things. And they told him about 3 minutes ago, COP, center of pressure, looks okay, car is good, keep going forward, and he is, Marty.
Kevin Will Anderson, the strategist for Pato O'Ward, said that Pato radioed in, said the car is fine. The rear's just locked up on him. He's all the way back to 13th. But Hinch, I'm sure you've been in this position before. With those alternate tires, it's tempting to get as much as you can on a restart when those positions are maybe available. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden has that same temptation out front, maybe run as hard as he wants to, but Tim Cindric has told him, you can't do it. We have to make the fuel stretch here, so expect Newgarden to keep Kirkwood behind him, but closely behind him and not try and check out here.
And that's the strategy, is you got to just take care of those tires, not make that gap any bigger than it has to be. It's tough to pass here in Long Beach, so a very, very heads-up call from the Penske team and Joseph Newgarden.
He is doing everything he can, and maybe it was that move out of pit lane, maybe it was the move exiting turn 6 to defend that race win of a year ago. All right, let's talk about one of the 3 Rahal Letterman Lanigan cars. It's the Custom Entertainment number 30. That is a new number this year and sponsor for Jack Harvey in car 30, who, by the way, turned 30 years of age yesterday. He's got the birthday vibes going, and boy, he is on target, guys, for his best result of the year. Long way to go, but Jack is knocking on the door of a top 10.
Yeah, it must be a breath of fresh air for sure for Harvey. We haven't seen him running this competitively for a while. Tough start to the season for that whole Rahal Letterman Lanigan team, but they're starting to find their feet. There's Graham Rahal, teammate in the United Rentals car. Always a great racer.
Graham already up 8 spots from the start, so doing what he does on Sundays. See something flapping there on the left-hand side mirror. Oh,
gone now.
Gone now. A little bit of helitate maybe, but yeah, great to see Jack Harvey running just outside the top 10. And Rahal's just stuck in this line of cars. It's so frustrating when you feel like you have more pace than the cars in front of you. He's on the alternates, Rinus VeeKay in front on those primaries, but he just needs to take care of the tires and take care of some fuel at this point.
Take a look at some Firestone telemetry as we are aboard this United Rentals Honda. Take a look at the bottom left of your screen to get some, at times, some eye-popping numbers. And while we ride with Graham, I want to draw your eyes as well to the timing order. Scott McLaughlin joined us in the NBC Sports booth yesterday for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship race with Calvin Fish and myself for the last part of the race. He said, I can win this race, this IndyCar race on Sunday, despite starting 9th. T-Bell, he's already up to 4th.
Doing a great job here under pressure, though, from Colton Herta, who's just kind of lurking there in that black and yellow Gainbridge car. Thought about having a look, decided to tuck back in, and you instantly have to look at the tire situation. Herta on the harder compound, McLaughlin on the softer alternate. So Herta's going to be up in the seat here over the next 5 to maybe 7 laps, waiting for that transition point to where Herta knows he's got a tire advantage.
And this might be the real first test of the season to see who's getting better fuel mileage out of the 2 engine partners, Honda and Chevrolet, because all of these drivers pit on lap 22. They all have to hit a pretty big number, but if we're seeing one or the other able to really eke out a bit more power, a bit more lap time, because we see, you know, the Hondas from the Andretti Autosport cars all over the back of the Chevys of the Team Penske cars right now.
I just talked about tires. Maybe we're seeing the crossover point a little earlier. Maybe Newgarden's a bit surprised that those softer alternates are starting to give up as Kyle Kirkwood is really making a charge.
This is the stuff made of dreams for this young star from Florida, Kyle Kirkwood, taking a run on 2-time series champion Joseph Newgarden.
The reason he has to announce that to the team is because of fuel. If you're going to make a pass here, you got to get on that push to pass. It's an up in boost pressure in the turbo, a little bit of a raise in revs. It gives you about 50 horsepower and a couple miles an hour, but it burns more fuel. So in this key moment, you cannot just be trigger happy on the push to pass button. You've got to be very methodical and meticulous with how you burn those numbers.
It's like laying out a plate full of gummy bears in front of me. It's there, but I can't eat it because I need to keep the weight down. In this case, Kyle can't use that button because he knows he's got to hit a fuel number. So it's so tempting with 182 seconds of push to pass for Kyle Kirkwood, but you hear the big coast phase. That's to save the gas and get the range you need to finish on one more stop.
In his defense, he's been one of the more conservative with that push to pass, but in fairness, he did lead 21 laps of this race, so he didn't need to utilize it. So that's why he's got a little bit more in the bank as we slowly, not there yet, but we're slowly approaching the halfway mark of this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Joseph Newgarden for Team Penske. Hitachi Chevy leads the Auto Nation Honda of Kyle Kirkwood for Andretti Autosport, Marty.
Diff about 20 laps from that second stop. They'll pit in the mid-50 range. So Townsend, talk to me about the tough job here for Joseph Newgarden. That was his radio a moment ago, saying Kirkwood's making a run. Tim Cindric reminded him you cannot give up the track position. So he has to keep that in mind, but he also has to save his tires and save fuel to make it another 20 laps. How tough is that job out front?
It's very tough, but I'll tell you, nobody's got more experience of successfully executing that strategy than that guy right there, Tim Cindric, the president of the race team and the strategist for Newgarden. The two of them have gotten it right more times than not on strategy, James. And if you're Joseph Newgarden, you've got to remember, I have Team Penske on pit lane as well. When it comes to those green flag stops, there's no faster gun in the West than Team Penske.
Well, with thanks to NTT, let's have a look at the pit stop prediction. And listen, strategically speaking, Tim Cindric, Joseph Newgarden, what they did last year and staying out a little longer, doing what we call the overcut on Alex Palou was masterful. Joseph said, in all of my IndyCar races, that was one of the most proud moments of the way that I drove to be able to keep Palou behind me under intense pressure, lap after lap, to grind it out and to finally, on his 10th attempt, get a victory here at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Yeah, it was a masterful defensive drive from Joseph Newgarden here last year, and he's having to do the same thing, but there's nothing worse as a driver than having your strategist come over the radio and say, take care of your tires, save fuel, and don't lose any spots. It's one of the hardest jobs out there, and I gotta be honest, big props to Kyle Kirkwood. He does not have anywhere near the experience saving fuel, conserving your tires in this sort of race situation as a Joseph Newgarden would, but he is keeping him honest, less than a second behind.
I'll tell you who's keeping him honest is Grosjean, the teammate to Kirkwood. He's getting closer, Diff. This is going to play out in spectacular fashion.
Grosjean chased Newgarden down last year and almost won here. He finished runner-up at this famed race. Let's see what the Frenchman can do today. It's Pod's biggest sale of the year. You can save up to 30% on moving and storage until April 17th and see why Pods has been trusted with 6 million moves. So get moving. Visit pods.com today and save 30% until April 17th. Moving anywhere anytime soon, fellas?
I hope not.
All right, somebody who is moving and moving well is Joseph Newgarden. He's got Kyle Kirkwood chasing him down in that AutoNation pink Andretti Autosport Honda, and then right behind is Romain Grosjean. A few seconds back, Scott McLaughlin, then Colton Herta. You'll see them at the top of the hill. There they are. So there's the pretty decent gap from third back to fourth, fifth, and then Marcus Ericsson. But the pressure is on at the front.
This guy right here on the AutoNation onboard, Kyle Kirkwood, he is getting racy. He's used a little bit of that push to pass on the last lap, fastest lap on the track. So he is maybe starting, maybe he got a call from the radio back in the pit lane saying, hey, you know what, let's just go for this.
Well, this is the point where Newgarden presumably is struggling on the tires as Kirkwood's steering wheel lights up like a Christmas tree. All the green lights suggesting he's on push to pass. Listen to this radio.
Okay, we can start putting some pressure on Joseph now. This is 17 laps on this set of tires. Copy, Lars.
That's the transition point. They're reminding Kirkwood, hey, this is where those softer greens are going to start to fall apart for Newgarden. So he might even get a shot going to turn 6. Kirkwood can be patient. It's going to continue to come his direction. He's right where he wants to be. Just wait for the right moment.
Dave?
They've retired Agustin Canapino's 78 car. Agustin, what happened?
Unfortunately, I lost a lot of time behind Callum because when after the pit, I lost a lot of time behind him, respect him. After that, Elliot tried to overtake me. And in this moment, touched the car, touched the wall, and broke the front left. Bad luck because it's a shame because we have a good car today with the black tires, but it's racing.
This fast rookie is out. That contact with Castro Neves broke something, Lee.
That's his first hiccup of his rookie IndyCar season. Agustin Canapino out. You know who else is out? Scott Dixon is out. We're going to get to that story in a moment. Kevin Lee will have more on that. Let's get back to the racing. Pressure on Scott McLaughlin. Here comes Colton Herta. Look at this yellow and black Gainbridge Honda. Sweeps around the outside, which gives him the inside run. Doesn't need it. He's already there. Herta past McLaughlin. And look in the background. Here comes Marcus Ericsson as well.
We're definitely at that crossover point, Townsend, with those alternate tires.
Absolutely. And you want to watch the young local kid hunt. Colton Herta will gobble up the gap in front of him and catch his teammate Grosjean very quickly as Kirkwood and Grosjean trapped a little bit behind Newgarden right now.
And here comes Ericsson looking down into turn 6. No protest from Scott McLaughlin. Realizes you're probably going to lose more time by fighting that for the next few corners than you are just to let him go, take the position, try and get him back through the pit sequence.
All right, let's talk more about the PNC Bank Honda number 9, Marty.
Yeah, unfortunate news. Scott Dixon, no oil pressure. He is off the track, back in the paddock. We'll get a word with him in a moment. Hey, Townsend, let's play strategist. Closing in on about 8-10 laps until these stops happen. So how far do you push it? Do you assume there'll be some caution later in the race and bring your driver a little bit earlier if you're Tim Cindric and Joseph Newgarden? Or do you play it safe and leave them out into that 54-lap range that we showed just a moment ago? What do you think?
You pit early, you're going to be slow in that final stint if it stays green to save the fuel. But if you pit a little later, you're in that danger zone where if a yellow comes out, you fall victim to bad luck on timing, and that first driver to pit goes straight to the front of the queue. So it's just a pure gamble. I think you study the statistics of this race. I think it's probably more likely to finish under green than yellow based on what I've seen so far.
But at the same time, from a strategic standpoint, if you're in the 27 of Kyle Kirkwood or the 28, this guy right here of Romain Grosjean, you're going to want to stretch it as far as you can. You want to force the driver ahead on the alternates to pit, do the overcut, run hot laps while they're trying to come up to speed, duck into pit lane, and try to cycle ahead of them as we see Rinus VeeKay on the inside of the 45 of Christian Lundgaard.
One thing we know about Newgarden is this battle continues.
Whoa.
Wow, that got close. Lundgaard on the outside, and I don't know if you can make it work there.
Hold on, good work.
Rinus VeeKay very kind to leave a ton of space for Lundgaard at the apex.
That could have been ugly. And Benjamin Peterson, bottom of your screen, the Sexton Properties Chevrolet for AJ Foyt Racing.
If it's not running, it'll bring a yellow for that 55 of Peterson.
He's stranded turn 1 in the runoff area.
This is what Joseph Newgarden really kind of wants. It's still a little bit early, obviously.
It's too early.
But it's too early for everyone, so you can get off of those alternate tires. You see him giving the international sign of I need to be started. They could try to leave it local, yellow, and get him restarted and not go full course caution.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous spot to put the AMR safety team. Let's see what happened to Benjamin Peterson. Those right sides get on that fresh painted line. He overcooks it. Back end goes out, and it looks like a full 360, but at that point the car is stalled. So local yellow, it stays green.
Again, the AMR safety team there to assist this rookie driver and get him fired up and get him going again as quickly as possible. So 45 into this 85 lap race, the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. There's a good sign. He's fired up and away he goes.
Great call.
So I was just going to say, in terms of when you pit, you got to think Newgarden's going to take the first opportunity to get off those tires, because it's going to be hanging on for dear life over these next 9 laps until he's in the window.
All right, let's hear from Scott Dixon, who was entering this race with high hopes, a little frustrated after qualifying. That frustration has grown now, Kevin.
Lots of reason to be frustrated with a fast car, and as Marty mentioned, just lost drive, and I know you don't really know what the issue was, so let's go back to a couple of incidents within the race. The contact with Pato O'Ward that set you back early, how did you see that?
I don't know. To me, I haven't seen proper replays of it yet, but that seemed extremely late. Yeah, but it starts way before that. Like, we're already committed to the corner. Like, I understand there's tire deg and all that kind of stuff going on, but you know, I wouldn't have chosen to do that. But if that's how the series wants us to race, then I guess it's all gloves off from this point, and that's how it would be. So yeah, disappointed with that. And then you know, I don't know what happened at the end there. We kind of just passed the 60 car, I think, and then lost drive after that and got back to the pits. So frustrating day. You know, it was going to be hard on the strategy that we were, and plus the start was a complete joke as well. So you know, I don't know what they're, you know, calling up there, but you know, it seemed like row 6 or 5 went way before even the leader did.
Thanks, Scott. Sorry you're out early.
It's one of those days to forget for Scott Dixon, and you saw while Scott was speaking, Will Power round up his teammate Scott McLaughlin. It's still Newgarden, Kirkwood and Grosjean at the front. Racing with 37 to go here in Long Beach, and I want to remind you that American Legion is dedicated to helping veterans through their toughest times by creating an outlet for vets to be the one to ask, listen and reach out for help. Learn more at www.betheone.org. And the American Legion Honda is racing here today in the hands of young Kiwi Marcus Armstrong, who's doing a really nice job in just his second ever IndyCar race. He's running in 9th in his Chip Ganassi Racing Honda. This is Kyle Kirkwood, and he is trying to be the race leader again. That's Joseph Newgarden up ahead. Let's go for a ride. Into turn 6. Hinch, tell us what you like, what you see.
I mean, I like that he's able to run so close without seemingly having to work the tires too hard. He's still saving some fuel. The real key for Kyle Kirkwood right now is being able to do the overcut on Joseph Newgarden. There's definitely pace in this number 27 car that he's having to hold back. But as soon as the 2 pulls into the pits, he'll have clean track, rip off a good lap or 2, come into the pits and try to cycle out in front. So I really like the look of this car right now.
Some action here with Scott McLaughlin and Alex Palou, the 10 car, the green car there, just kind of fading over in the brake zone. Very light contact, but that's at terminal velocity, over 180 miles an hour.
A little bit rude, but no real harm done there. But McLaughlin really falling back on those alternate tires.
He's got to hang on, Diff, for about another 3 laps before he can come to pit lane, and then this happened.
Marcus Ericsson has been on a real surge. And even if he has to try and do it in another orthodox way, unfortunately it didn't work out for the Indy 500 winner there because he overshot a little bit. Watch this goes to the inside of Colton Herta.
You see the huge bumpy hits. It sort of gets the car oscillating a little bit. He locks up, does a great job to get the car rolling again and avoid the wall, but loses the position back to Herta.
Colton Herta with an equally impressive bit of driving there to cross up Ericsson at the exit of 1. I got to think Kirkwood's going to start to press now to make the move.
This is Devlin DiFrancesco in the Capstone Honda in the green, white, and red car there. You see on your left, you're on board with Christian Lundgaard in the Hy-V Honda. They race up the back. There's Santino Ferrucci going through on the inside. Ferrucci was fighting with Pato O'Ward. Ferrucci now gets 13th place in that Sexton Properties AJ Foyt Chevy. This is only the second time Ferrucci has raced here on the streets of Long Beach, and Ericsson did get Colton Herta in the end.
I wonder where that happened.
He's had such good pace all weekend long. He got sort of caught up in that turn 8 incident with Pato O'Ward, lost a bunch of track position, but the car right now, this number 8 red and white Husky chocolate car right down the inside of turn 1, textbook stuff, no real fight from Colton Herta there.
And Ericsson takes a page out of his teammate Alex Palou's book. A little bit of a fade here to just kind of seal off Colton Herta from making the crossover move work once again. And by moving his car over to the right, Ericsson had a little bit more grip in the brake zone than he did on the previous attempt. Now Ericsson's kind of gapping Colton Herta in a big way, trying to catch up to the top 3 cars. Look who's in the pit. The 2. That's in early.
This is exactly what Kyle Kirkwood wants to see. He's now got to push, be all over that push to pass, try and get as many quick laps as he can, Marty, as we see the number 2 come to pit lane.
And this was the debate that we were having. Would you gamble on maybe caution coming late in the race? Those numbers, Townsend, that you wondered about, it will show cautions usually come here late in the Long Beach race. Those primaries going on for Joseph Newgarden, 33 to go. Final stop of the day, wanted no changes on the car.
And Marty, that puts Kirkwood, Grosjean, Ericsson into the danger zone as Pato O'Ward taking the same strategy. And I think Kirkwood and Andretti, they're going to have to cover here, Marty, as O'Ward comes to the box.
Yeah, and I think these Chevy teams just needed to come a little bit earlier. Also, those alternate tires falling off so much. They told Pato 1 lap ago, go as hard as you want. That's kind of the signal, hey, we're going to come on the next lap. The primary is going on. He has made, by the way, no progress since that contact earlier, pitted from 13th.
Well, last year it was Joseph Newgarden who won by staying out longer. This time, would it be Kyle Kirkwood who stays out by winning by staying out longer?
Yeah, that's a fuel alarm that you see going off on Kyle Kirkwood's dash there, the red and white lights. You hear the call from the team, and Grosjean's in the pits, Dave.
His teammate, Grosjean, gives up a 2nd place. He'll get fresh, unused Firestone primary tires on there. No changes elsewise to the 28 car.
Out goes that DHL Honda. Alexander Rossi there in the NTT data machine for Arrow McLaren. He dives in. It's been a really solid run by Alexander, the 2-time Long Beach winner. Marty?
Yeah, it's been a nice run for the 2-time Long Beach winners. You mentioned Diff in 7th when he came to pit road. So the car much better on this run. So going a little bit longer in the Chevy for Rossi. Traffic on pit road, as you can see. Let's see where Rossi blends out.
Let's see what happens with Grosjean blending out. Where's Joseph Newgarden? Grosjean gets out ahead. So he makes the overcut work, but Grosjean's on cold tires. Newgarden's got a lap of temperature in those Firestones.
And Kyle Kirkwood hasn't come into the pits yet, but I'm seeing he's got stuck behind some traffic. That's going to really hurt him on that in-lap. So important to get the best lap time that he can. He's diving into the pits now. It's all in the hands of the pit crew and this outlap.
Dave Burns?
You said it, guys. What is the in-lap like? How bad will that be? Fresh primaries going on the 27 car. Kyle is in his marks well. Team gets him going, and he nails it. Kevin.
Marcus Ericsson comes in from 2nd. He's going to primaries. He's back out. He's going to easily beat Colton Herta, who was the only one that had tire choice, but he doesn't feel like he can make the alternates last the rest of the way. Primary Firestones and Shell Fuel, and Herta back out.
And coming out of the hairpin is Romain Grosjean and Joseph Newgarden. Look on your screen to the bottom there. Here it is. It's a drag race. Kirkwood is off that pit lane speed limiter. He's going down to the bottom there. Here comes his teammate. Kirkwood's going to beat them both out, but he's on cold tires. Can he hang tough? Can he do what Newgarden did last year? It's all to play for with 31 to go.
Andretti Autosport running 1-2 at Long Beach after making their last round of stops. And for Kyle Kirkwood, he got it done on that in-lap. Low fuel, he saved the pace, and he turned up the wick to get the lead.
2 laps more than Joseph Newgarden, 1 lap more than his teammate Romain Grosjean, and that was the key for sure. Got a nice gap when he came out, even though his tires are cold. Doing a great job on this outlap, keeping Grosjean at bay. This is a brilliant, brilliant execution.
And for the driver of the 27, most importantly, he has the most fuel to use to get to the end. Meanwhile, Newgarden's going to have to save to make it there.
More action on pit road. Here's Marty.
Yeah, coming down Alex Palou, the last of the leaders to come down pit road. Not the run that he's wanted so far today, kind of hanging out in the back half of the top 10. They'll see if this running longer helps him out. 30 to go, and maybe he can gain some track position with this, Diff.
There goes that Ridgeline Lubricants Honda of Alex Palou. He finished 3rd here a couple of years ago when he was crowned champion. But it's the young man from Florida, Kyle Kirkwood, leading the way. Could this be the day he gets his first IndyCar victory? Welcome back, Lee Diffie, James Hinchcliffe, Townsend Bell, Kevin Lee, Dave Burns, Marty Snyder, enjoying a wonderful Sunday afternoon on the streets of Long Beach, California, where the action has been awesome, to say the least. A race that's seen 2 cautions just for 7 laps. Helio Castro Neves, unfortunately, was the catalyst for the first one on the opening lap, exiting turn 1. He's still in the race. He's out of contention, unfortunately, as he's way back in 21st, 1 lap down. Up front, it is Kyle Kirkwood who leads the way by over a second over his Andretti Autosport teammate Romain Grosjean.
Yeah, we talked all race about tire compound, but that's out the window at this point as the top 5 drivers battling out for the win, all on the same compound. In fact, the top 20 drivers all on the same compound at this point, so it's a straight-up fist fight to the finish.
Dave Burns, what do you have?
Talked to Will Power on the grid just before the start of this race, asked him if everything was okay. He didn't start in the top 5, but he said it was, and we have pretty much a car that will come together at the end of the stint, just like his teammates. However, we haven't seen him able to go very much forward. He was able to make a little time early, but Power, the reigning champion, still running in 8th.
I want to add to that Will Power story too. It's been a tough year for Will because his wife Liz has had some health challenges. Pleased to hear, speaking with Will the other day, that Liz is doing better. Liz, continue your speedy recovery. We would love to see you back at the track whenever possible, so keep doing what you're doing and be healthy, get well. Your husband's doing well in 8th. He's trying his best to try and get up there into the top 5. Lead Team Penske driver is Joseph Newgarden behind the Andretti Autosport duo. Marcus Ericsson is the best for Chip Ganassi Racing, and here he is here on the inside of Joseph Newgarden.
Man.
That's for a spot on the podium.
Look out, Andretti. Here comes the Ganassi boy, Ericsson, clear of Newgarden, and now Ericsson can really press the pace.
This is just a great drive for Marcus Ericsson. Got caught up in that incident earlier, fell a little bit back, but he is just methodically getting passes done on the racetrack. It's a big gap up to these two here, the leaders, Kyle Kirkwood, Romain Grosjean. You see it there. It's about 6 seconds on the racetrack. He's got 26 laps to do it. This is what I want to pay attention to now. How quickly can this number 8 chase down the leading Andretti duo?
Joseph Newgarden's led 27 laps to this point, hence sitting in 4th right now. What's the plan for the final 26 of this race? Listen on the radio.
And it is what it is now. You got to save a ton of fuel for us. We got like fuel 90 to the end. Sit there and save. We'll sort it later. We'll just save what we can here.
And that is a big number for him to save. In fact, a moment ago, the reason the 8 of Marcus Ericsson went past Joseph Newgarden, Tim Cindric said, you're going to have to let the 8 go by and the 26 of Colton Herta if we even have a shot to make it to the end.
I'll tell you, another thing that's going to play into this, guys, is push to pass. Look at how many seconds Grosjean has left. 158. Kirkwood just 70. Ericsson only 37. So Romain Grosjean has a ton of boost to use over these next 25 laps. How does he play it?
And guess what? Guess what portion of the race Romain Grosjean was strongest in last year? The one we're in right now. The final 30-odd laps, Grosjean came to life and just hounded Joseph Newgarden. Couldn't get by him for the win, but it most certainly could be today. In his 3rd year of IndyCar racing, first year with Dale Coyne. Last year, his first year with Andretti Autosport. We thought a win may have come last year, but it wasn't to be. This year, he has been in contention in both St. Petersburg, Florida and Texas Motor Speedway in the closing stanza of the race, all to see it go away with crashes. However, today it's been a cleaner, more confident run.
And James, if I'm Romain Grosjean, I'm happy right now to just ride for a bit. Just study my teammate Kyle Kirkwood, conserve my tires. My team will tell me exactly where I am on push to pass with that advantage. How do you think he plays it?
I think he knows there's a good chance of yellow, so it's a smart move. You got to just kind of keep track of your teammate, like you say, study his weaknesses, but don't fry those Firestones, because there might be a yellow, and you want that extra rubber when it counts.
And if there is a yellow, you can count on this yellow and black Gainbridge car to having a good shot. Look at Colton Herta lighting up the rears out of turn 6. Colton Herta doesn't need to save as much fuel as Newgarden either. If he can clear Newgarden, you'll have 3 Andretti cars in the top 4 for the final phase.
And guys, I'm looking at that gap for Marcus Ericsson. It was 6.2 a lap ago, down to 5.7. The sneaky Swede. We talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. We've talked about it over the weekend. What he's been so good at in all of his victories, Marcus Ericsson, is that last portion of the race. He knows how to close out these races. To steal a NASCArism from Kevin Harvick, he's kind of our closer, as Colton Herta now is making that move on the 2. Just cannot defend.
There we go. We heard Marty talk about it earlier. Joseph Newgarden knew that was coming for this Gainbridge Honda to go by him. They're in massive fuel save, fuel conservation mode. And Colton Herta, Marty, on the opposite side. He can still go attack mode.
Yeah, they told him again, you got to let the 26 go. Sorry. So, Hinch, is there anything worse as a driver than that to say, hey, you got to let that guy pass you?
I mean, being out of the race, not finishing, doing a splash and go at the end. There's a few things, but there's no doubt it's tough. Definitely some frustration inside the helmet of Joseph Newgarden right now, but he's got to think big picture. You know, he's vaulted himself up into championship contention. If they finish as they run right now, he'd be up to P2 in the championship after a DNF in the first round. So not going to go his way today for the result, but you have to think long term.
Quick update on rookies. Marcus Armstrong is the best of the bunch in 10th, going very well. Stingray Rob is running in 19th. Benjamin Peterson in 24th. And Augustine Canapino at the back. 20 laps remain in this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach here in the NTT IndyCar Series. It's the 3rd round of this season. And want to remind you that NTT IndyCar Series drivers and their teams will again compete for more than $1 million in the People Ready Force for Good Challenge by being the first driver to win a series race on all 3 different types of circuit, oval, street, and of course road course. And that man there, Joseph Newgarden, he got the People Ready Force for Good Challenge, $1 million challenge done and won in the first 8 races of last season. It was an incredible accomplishment, and People Ready were happy to see it get done, and contact between Alex Palou and Joseph Newgarden. We should say a flailing Joseph Newgarden. This will be so frustrating and spirit-crushing just to be sitting there trying to get to the end on fuel over these closing 19 laps as everybody's coming on attack.
But I think James said it best before the break. Team Penske can remind Newgarden where he is in the championship, that big picture.
Either that or finish 18th.
There you go.
And that was Tim Cindric. That was actually Joseph Newgarden saying, this is painful, and it's a big ask what you're asking me to do to save this amount of fuel. And Tim coming back, hey, it's better than finishing the last car on the lead lap.
Exactly. If you guys weren't with us yesterday for the sports car race, Porsche Team Penske won in the IMSA WeatherTech Series. It's unlikely that a Penske car will win today. Here's Palou and Newgarden, the replay.
Yeah, I mean, Palou will have smelled blood in the water. He would have that. He would have that information from his team. But there's a replay here. Romain Grosjean.
Understand that he clipped the wall on the driver's left there.
Oh yeah.
Boy, that would be a painful moment. I'm going to watch the steering here to see if there's alignment. And normally what you look for is on the top end of the wheel when he comes straight here before the brake zone. Is that wheel level and square across? It doesn't look too bad. But clipping concrete at 100 miles an hour is dicey.
Townsend, nothing so far from Grosjean on the radio. I caught up with him just after the 30-minute morning practice this morning. They called a warm-up, and teams use it for a variety of reasons. Grosjean told me we wanted to try something else to make our DHL Honda better. I didn't like it. They went back to what kept him in the top 5 all weekend in practice and helped that car qualified 3rd, and he's very quick. We'll keep an eye on that contact.
And guys, the numbers don't lie. He was 1.9 seconds behind teammate Kirkwood. He's now 1.4. So, going well.
And looking at push to pass, Grosjean still with 153 seconds. Kirkwood 57.
He's got almost 3 times as much.
Yes, he does.
Almost 3 times as much with 18 laps, almost 17 laps to go.
Like a fat wallet at the club.
Yeah, he's definitely pushed to pass Rich right now. Kyle Kirkwood's going to know that, but Grosjean might have to use a good chunk of that even just to catch up to his teammate, close that gap to put himself in a position to go for the pass.
All right. How big a deal is it for Kyle Kirkwood to have conducted himself the way that he has? In all of the junior formula, the road to Indy, he has been stellar. He was the most hyped rookie coming in last year because of that track record. This guy doesn't know anything but winning. He's even won in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but his rookie year last year was not good. It was frustrating. There was lots of big moments, but there were also lots of big disappointments. However, today he's driving like a series veteran. Let's have a quick listen to some radio, then the boys will comment.
Okay, good job. Let's stay on fuel 85 or better. Fuel 85 or better. This will help us later if we can give you some more. Yeah, copy. Sorry about the lap, too.
Look at that. Great conversation, and what a huge gain for Kyle Kirkwood to have Brian Herta, one of the best strategists and one of the calmest voices on the radio. In anxious moments, good times, bad times, Brian Herta is a steady set of hands and has guided so many young drivers to victory in IndyCar. So pretty magic combination coming here together.
But it's also the calm that you're hearing in Kyle Kirkwood is very impressive. We've talked about his junior Formula Car career. We know he's no stranger to winning, but winning at this level is different, and he has done everything he's needed to do up to this point. And every time we've heard him on the radio, you know, when they were explaining the Newgarden situation earlier, he said, oh yeah, cool, no problem. You know, he's been very calm, very level-headed, didn't get flustered when he did lose the lead at that phase. And he's driving like a pro.
And thinking, acknowledging that, hey, I could have done a better job for you there. I'm aware. I'll put it to good use going forward. So going to be fun to watch these two teammates go for their first win.
Well, that's just it. You know, you've got the driver in his 3rd season. You've got his teammate in his 3rd race. If Kyle Kirkwood pulls off that first win before Romain Grosjean, do we start seeing some tensions? I don't know. Dave Burns.
Back to strategist Brian Herta. Remember, for the Herta family, Southern California is home. And Brian told me this morning that having Kyle Kirkwood is sort of like having a second son, and I want to know him so I know when to fight his fights, when I know when to let him go. So on Friday evening, they had an intimate dinner. We're talking Brian, his wife, Colton's brother, right here in downtown. They got together. They wanted to know more about each other. They're learning each other, and Brian Herta wants to know how to coach this kid on, perhaps to his first victory. Maybe here today, Kevin.
Dave, Marcus Ericsson last lap, a half a second better than Kyle Kirkwood. He's cutting into that a little bit. We've talked throughout the weekend and the year how much has changed after 5 really rough seasons in Formula One. Had very little confidence coming to IndyCar. By year 2, started to get some back, winning the Indy 500 changed everything, but he still wanted more. A mental coach added in the offseason to try to go for a championship, and he stands now to lead the points. But remember, a year ago, it's about this time, running in the same position when it all went wrong. Gave away a lot of points with a slight mistake, and then the car could not be rescued, could have continued, but in a spot where they can't get it, and then a really frustrating end of the race. And I think some guys in the booth can speak to this a little bit. Stranded over there, and then a lot of memes on social media, sitting in, viewing the rest of the race. He told me a couple of days ago, people were trying to be nice to me, offering water, how's it going? And it was basically, I'd like to be left alone. I'm not happy right now, but he is happy today.
Look, this guy's got a smile on his face pretty much every time you see him. He is so proud of that Indianapolis 500 win, as he should be. And it's a new Marcus Ericsson, a more mature, confident Marcus Ericsson, who will lead this championship again. We are getting closer and closer to seeing a first-time NTT IndyCar Series winner. We'll talk about that in a moment, but guys, first let's talk about this pit stop differential brought to us by NTT.
So here we go, analyzing the different elements. You got your pit in lap, so important, very minor advantage to Joseph Newgarden. We saw Kirkwood getting caught behind some lap traffic. Time on pit lane goes to Team Penske as well, but Kyle Kirkwood, killer on those cold tires, getting up to speed. It's a 2/10 advantage to Kirkwood. Now, that's not the whole story. He did have those other 2 laps that he ran longer, spraying push to pass that would have definitely helped with that jump of the 2 car in that pit sequence. But overall, still a little bit of an advantage to the 27, and it just shows they're executing on all these different elements they got to hit to pull off a race win.
Who is up ahead of Kyle Kirkwood? It's been blissfully smooth sailing the last 15 laps or so, just 11 to go. But like so many times we see in IndyCar, it is lap traffic. You've got Connor Daly and Agustin Canapino many laps down.
Let's give a shout out to Connor. He's in his 100th NTT IndyCar Series race. Congratulations to the Bitnile Chevy driver, the Ed Carpenter Racing pilot, who heads back home. We've got to go to Barber Motorsports Park first in a couple of weeks, but this week we will be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for a 2-day test in the lead-up, Kevin Lee, to the month of May in the Indianapolis 500, where last year this guy led some 40 laps.
He cannot wait to get to Indianapolis and prepare for the 500. Long Beach is a special place too. He won his first Indy Lights, as it was known then, race, now Indy Next, and came away as the championship leader. He always kind of wonders what might have been, and he's asked about it. That was the year that Joseph Newgarden won the Lights championship, and then that propelled him. Connor was still pursuing Formula One and finished 3rd in the F3 championship, GP3 championship that year. He also got his first start outside of Indianapolis here in 2015, and that was a late call-up in the middle of the weekend, filling in for an injured driver. Hasn't gone great this weekend, but Connor Daly, as you said, is ready for Indy.
And doing a good thing there for Kyle Kirkwood, getting out of the way. It's not like Connor's on the tail end of the lead lap. He's already a lap down, so that blue flag mandate from the corner workers is an expectation that you'll move over and let the leaders pass.
Here comes Romain Grosjean, still with an abundance of push-to-pass seconds left, but you only use that if you've got an abundance of fuel in your tank. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 situation as we get down to the final 9 laps. How much fuel does Grosjean have left in comparison to his teammate Kyle Kirkwood? And where is Marcus Ericsson? Ericsson is now less than 3 seconds away. There he is. He's now starting to zero in on the second place Romain Grosjean.
And he has absolutely chewed that gap up in the last few laps. Connor Daly will move to the side here and let Ericsson go. I'm very impressed with the pace that he's able to do and still maintain the fuel number. He is on the same sort of program. He pit on the same lap as Kyle Kirkwood, a lap later than Romain Grosjean, so he's actually a lap to the good on that yellow and red DHL car right in front of him. This might not be over, guys. These podium positions are not sorted yet.
Ericsson has the pace, but he doesn't have those precious push-to-pass seconds. Just 37 left, 57 for Kirkwood, but 153 for Grosjean. So Grosjean, by being so stingy, so frugal with push-to-pass, can defend when he needs to.
Providing he's got enough fuel to do it.
Well, we'll have to monitor the radio. We'll get some help from pit lane on that to see, Dave Burns, if they might be giving Grosjean any guidance on where he sits on fuel numbers with just 8 laps left.
Townsend, they have not given him the green light yet, but when they do, he'll be like a gamer on the button who has a new weapon, but so far still up in the 150 range. Grosjean waiting for the moment to pounce. Remember, he came in a lap earlier than his teammate Kyle Kirkwood, who leads.
And if he stays where he is and finishes second in this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, he'll say, oh no, not again. He's finished second 3 times in his short IndyCar career, twice at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, and it would be twice here at the Acura Grand Prix at Long Beach. That win is close, it's getting closer, but win for Romain Grosjean. When they come to the line this time, it'll be just 7 laps to go. Andretti Autosport is in great shape, but don't discount Chip Ganassi racer and reigning Indy 500 winner Marcus Ericsson in that white and red car in the background, Kev.
And that gap was more than 5 seconds not that long ago. It's been cut in half. Ericsson is being told that Grosjean pitted a lap earlier. I think they feel like they're going to get him because they're talking more about Kirkwood, who pitted on the same lap. But Ericsson is not done yet.
And this is that third part of the race that we were talking about earlier, the closer. He's really great at preserving his car, preserving his track position earlier in the race, and even with the issue he got caught up in, he lost the track position, but he put the bit between his teeth and showing that Chip Ganassi Racing have very good street course cars. It was all Ganassi and Andretti in qualifying. 3 of the top 5 were Chip Ganassi Racing entries yesterday in qualifying. Palou had some issues. You know, we know that Dixon is out. Marcus Ericsson really the only option they got left for a strong result.
So now just trying to think forward with 7 laps to go. What's Kirkwood have in his future? Well, there he is. Pato O'Ward is the last car on the lead lap, and Pato's last lap time was about a 1.5 seconds slower than Kyle Kirkwood. So you do the math. The gap is about 4 seconds between that orange and black car and Kirkwood. Why does that matter? Because O'Ward does not have to let Kirkwood by. He's still on the lead lap.
All right, guys, let's remind ourselves what kind of a ride it's been this year for Kyle Kirkwood in this AutoNation Honda for Andretti Autosport. Let's go back to his home state of Florida, St. Petersburg. He qualified in the Firestone Fast 6, but in the race, he looked like a supercross rider, up and over and down. And then 2 weeks ago at Texas Motor Speedway, has a pit lane altercation with Alexander Rossi. And these were 2 results to forget about for this young racer. However, today, it is completely different. He wins his first NTT P1 pole position yesterday, and he has led the most laps of this race of anyone. 47 laps led thus far, Dave, and is looking good for his first ever IndyCar Series race win.
And Lee, you know drivers talk about putting an entire weekend together, practice fast, qualifying fast, finishing it off with a win. As you just pointed out with that video, he's not done it yet this year. When I talked to him about it this week, I expected him to say something like the team needs it, the championship needs it, but he was more focused on the public perception that he is an incident causer, that he gets into trouble on track and puts others in a bad spot. So he wants to correct that. He wants to show that when the weekend goes well, he can stay out of trouble, be up front, and be that winner. First-time winner in the IndyCar Series. Remember, his team owner, Michael Andretti, got his first win here back in 1986.
This is good stuff. He's really good friends with young American Formula One driver Logan Sargent. The 2 Floridians, they're great mates. They both cheer for each other in their respective series. Logan will be delighted to watch his good friend perform so well. He's not there yet, but he's getting closer and closer.
Well, he's getting closer and closer to Pato O'Ward, too, who's about a second slower, as we talked about already. So question is, how does O'Ward play this? He's really not in the mix for anything further up the road. He's also driving a Chevrolet with 5 Hondas running in the top 5.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see. I mean, if I'm Kirkwood,
he does not.
I'm almost trying to control that gap. I almost don't want to catch Pato O'Ward at this point.
And I heard Brian Herta say, no, he does not. I think Kyle must have asked him, does O'Ward have to pull over? And Brian is telling him, no, he does not. So let's see if there's a fly in the works here.
The rule in IndyCar is you have to be a lap down to the entire field before the command blue is shown. But Pato O'Ward doing the right thing. Great move.
And that'll come back to Pato O'Ward somewhere in their respective careers. Kirkwood will repay that favor, I'm sure. So Kyle Kirkwood with a little bit of a sigh of relief there. 4 laps in front of him, Diff, just 3.5 at Long Beach. It's all for the taking.
Those 2 were teammates in Indy Lights, obviously still friends, a lot of respect between them. So again, a very great move, gentlemanly driver move right there from Pato O'Ward to let the top 3 go and let this race carry on with 4 to go.
While we're enjoying this action up front, I want to give a shout out to some other drivers a little further back. Marcus Armstrong, lead rookie and lead Kiwi of the 3 New Zealanders in this race. The youngster is in the top 10. Santino Ferrucci for AJ Foyt Racing.
30 seconds.
They just told Grosjean that you can use 30 seconds of your push to pass these last 3 laps. That was the go signal. He's been saving so much fuel up to this point.
So he can use 30 seconds of his 153 seconds. You can use it in 20-second squirts if you need to. The other driver who's put in a great performance other than Santino Ferrucci a little further back, Graham Rahal, making up 11 positions from where he started.
I don't see that thumb of Grosjean moving just yet, Hinchcliffe. You tell me I've got an extra 50 horsepower with a win in front of me, I'm going to be all over that button.
No, I'm waiting to use it all in one lap. Close up that gap and try to initiate that pass. Here he goes. He used a little bit right there just to get a good jump off of turn 9. He'll probably use a little bit again to get a jump off the hairpin, but he needs to be closer than a second to have a legitimate shot. And remember, Kyle still has a lap more of fuel.
Yeah.
He's got enough push. He's got more than 30 seconds of push to pass, so he could probably defend second for second.
Now Grosjean's on the button. He's ready to go. 2 laps to go at the line here.
Brian Herter on the left bottom box. Olivier Boisson on the right bottom box. The engineer of Romain Grosjean on the radio. They're both taking a look. Both getting a little nervous. There's less than 4 miles of racing to go. Marcus Ericsson would dearly love to steal this second spot away from Romain Grosjean, the 2 former F1 drivers. Battling it out here on the closing stages of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. And for either Kirkwood or Grosjean, if they were to get the victory, they would join a list of drivers like Michael Andretti, our old mate PT, Paul Tracy, Juan Pablo Montoya, Mike Conway and Takuma Sato as drivers to win their first ever IndyCar race on these famed streets of Long Beach.
What must be going through Kirkwood's head? I got to tell you, this guy, I've been his teammate, the Vassar Sullivan Lexus team in sports car racing. I know how mentally strong he is. Nothing has really rattled him so far in his IndyCar career, but this has to be the most pressure he's faced so far.
And he's going to see the white flag with a clear track ahead. What a great feeling for Kyle Kirkwood.
You're good to the finish here, bud.
1 to go. Get to the finish, bud. You got less than 2 miles, Kyle Kirkwood, before you're an IndyCar race winner.
And to get
hard as you want.
To get your first one here, he's been told he can go as hard as he wants. This is essentially one of the majors of open wheel racing.
Oh, yeah.
The Grand Prix of Long Beach. This will mean so much to this young driver, Alexander Rossi, it looks like, down in the tires.
That's terrible for Rossi, who was having a really good race.
That's down in turn 9, I believe. That's very unfortunate. He was running comfortably in the top 10.
He was in the top 10, and that was going to bode well for his points haul as well. In the NTT data, Arrow McLaren Chevy. What a shame. Last time up the back straight for Kyle Kirkwood. One of the most celebrated road to Indy drivers because of his phenomenal winning record. He had to answer a lot of uncomfortable questions last year in his rookie year. It didn't pan out the way that he had hoped, but the famous Andretti name with a young American behind the wheel, Kyle Kirkwood, is your latest IndyCar race winner. He wins the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Let's go, Ryan! Yeah! Oh my gosh, thank you so much, guys. Amazing job, amazing job.
There is Michael Andretti celebrating. Brian Herter on the radio. Brian has a habit of being that calm voice to talented young drivers and getting them to victory lane. He's done it again with the AutoNation Honda of Kyle Kirkwood.
And how about the comeback for Andretti Autosport? You look at the first 2 races across 4 cars, that's 8 finishes, only 1 inside the top 10. Here today, we have 3 in the top 5, including a 1-2 sweep. Just such a needed turnaround for this group that had such a rough start to the season.
And really a perfect score on the weekend. They rolled off the trucks fast, they qualified well, they raced well, the strategy was right, and the teammates respected each other but pressed all the way to the line.
What a day for this 24-year-old Floridian. It's time to celebrate. The questions now can be celebratory questions because Kyle Kirkwood has answered them all. With this, a victory, his first in IndyCar at Long Beach. It doesn't get much better than that. Time now for the Pennzoil moment of the race. And yes, who else is it going to feature but Kyle Kirkwood? 24 hours ago, won the NTT P1 pole position for the first time in his young IndyCar career. The AutoNation Andretti Autosport team did a super job on his stop. Got him out. He stayed out longer than Romain Grosjean and Joseph Newgarden and pretty much everybody else to come out in front and drive it all the way to here. Victory lane. If you get to this spot, this is truly special. Victory lane, Marty Snyder, at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
What a place. to get win number one of the crown jewels on the IndyCar schedule. The pride of Jupiter, Florida, Kyle Kirkwood is an IndyCar winner. Wow. You've dreamed of this moment your entire life. Were you thinking about that? Is this the stuff dreams were made of?
This is amazing, man. Oh my gosh. What a day. The calmest day I've had in 2 years, and it was a win. You know, we got a little unlucky with some traffic there and fell back, but we kept our heads straight, made awesome pit stops. I was really the only one that made a mistake in the pit stop, to be honest, and came out with a win at Long Beach.
You told me yesterday when you won the pole, I knew this moment would come. Did you know this moment would come, because a win is way different?
I was so happy with just the pole yesterday, but I'm over the moon right now. Man, this is incredible. For the whole team, for everyone, for Auto Nation, Honda. We had a stellar day as a team with Andretti Autosport, with Roman in second there. He was keeping me on my toes. And thank you so much, Michael. Let's go. And then Colton with P4. Incredible day. Oh my gosh.
What went through your mind when you crossed the checkered flag? So many moments go to getting here, Kyle. What went through your mind?
I just had a moment of relaxation, to be honest. I was just like, finally, we've it's not really finally, because we're only 3 races in, to be honest, but it felt like it for me. I felt like I needed this win, and we got it today, and a moment of relief, no doubt. And I can't thank the team enough, man. Brian did a fantastic job with strategy. My engineer, Jeremy, we didn't touch anything from qualifying. The car has been the same the entire time, so it's hats off to the Andretti crew.
Hey, speaking of Brian Herter, real quick, he told you on the cool-down lap, take a moment, look at everything, soak it in. Did you do that?
Nearly put me in tears, yeah. It was a really cool moment, no doubt.
All right, Kyle Kirkwood, a winner on the IndyCar Series, Dave. What a place to get it, too, Long Beach.
It's a great place, Marty, and a good place to finish second, but I'm wondering if your emotions are mixed. Your teammate won, but you finished in P2.
No, it's awesome for Kyle. I'm very happy for him. Obviously, I wish I was in his position right now, but he drove a hell of a race like a champ, and the whole weekend, so he deserved that. We tried everything we could on our end, but it was not easy. It was a fuel situation, so couldn't really attack. And I think the car could have been a touch better here and there, but yeah, it's good to be in P2, and we're on the highs now.
When you went to pit lane a lap before him, did you start doing the math and go, I don't know if this is going to work out?
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to work out. And I was trying to go 1 lap longer than him, but I think to protect the team, that was the smart thing to do. So we first and second, that's more important than anything for us. So yeah, I wish it was the other way around, but as I say, Kyle deserved it this weekend.
And how frustrating is it for a driver in the NTT IndyCar Series to have 153 push to pass seconds and not be able to use most of them?
Oh man, tell me about it. I pressed the button twice in the whole race until the last lap. 188 left on the last lap. I was like, that's tough, but it is what it is. Fuel race, so I should have used it earlier.
Romain, your team owner, Michael Andretti, came over to you and said, very smart race. What does that mean to you?
That means that I didn't try to attack, didn't try to go for cat, didn't try to go for win. I just stay out of trouble, and we did what we had to do. So it was not easy for saving that much fuel for that long. I think New Garden felt behind us, and it was the same situation. So we did a good job, and I'm happy for Honda, happy for DHL, and all the sponsors, but generally more happy for me as well.
Seems like the win may be just around the corner, Marty, and maybe even a championship with smart days like today.
Let's chat with a very happy team owner, Michael Andretti. Boy, you've had your eye and you've locked this kid in a long time ago. Did you know this moment was coming eventually, Michael?
I felt it for sure. You know, like I said, he's the real deal. You know, we knew it a long time ago when he won the championship for us in the Indy Next Series, and you know, we knew it was something special. And yeah, he's really doing us proud. I'm just proud of the whole team, really. I mean, we did a great job across the board on all the cars, you know, and I'm so happy for everybody that worked really hard over the winter and to get us, you know, back up front, and also to finally crack it and not have the bad luck we had at the first 2 races. So it was definitely big, and so happy for Auto Nation to get a win with us, and also DHL to be right there. So couldn't be a better day right now.
Yeah, Kyle was emotional when I asked him about soaking in the moment. You know that moment here. Your first win, your last win came here at Long Beach. So what does it mean to get that first win at such a special place like this?
Actually, it really makes it extra special doing it here at a place like Long Beach. It's such a huge event, an iconic event, and you know, it was always special, and it'll always be special to him, I can assure you.
After the start to the season, how badly did this organization need not only a win, but a good day with 1, 2, and 4?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we needed, you know. That's the medicine we needed. It was very frustrating, but we knew that we had quick cars, and we knew if we just kept our head down and, you know, keep our heads up and just go, we're going to get the results. And luckily we got it here, so we now keep it going now.
Andretti Autosport in victory lane, and this place is so special, Kevin. You can even hear it in Michael Andretti's voice, the emotion of what it means to win at Long Beach.
And Marty, last year's Indianapolis 500 winner Marcus Ericsson now has a podium to go along with that at this prestigious event. I know you've been waiting a year to get back here and get it done. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was a great day, great weekend. I think we had the speed to win today, but unfortunately got involved in that incident when Pato dive bombed on a few guys and, you know, hit my front wing and got some damage and lost, I think, 5 or 6 positions. So it's a bit of an uphill battle from there, but I think we showed the pace and made some good overtakes, which was fun, and then was catching the leaders towards the end. So speed was there. I think the Husky Chocolate Honda was great all weekend, and 5 Hondas in the top 5 in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Doesn't get much better than that.
So you got a win. One of the big points of this season was just getting what you could at Texas 2 weeks ago, and now a third. Put you in the championship lead. What's the key to maintaining and sustaining that?
It's just being consistent. You know, we had a bad weekend in Texas and still got P8s out of it with good points. And then today we were, you know, it was close to ending tears there when that restart, when it got a bit spicy, but we stayed out of trouble and recovered and finished up on the podium. So that's how you win championships, and we're focused, we're fast. We just need to keep doing that all year.
We still got a couple of more races left. Barber in a couple of weeks and the road course at Indy, but you'll be testing at IMS. You can watch on Peacock Thursday and Friday. This is the baby. This is the car. How ready are you to get back to Indy as the winner?
I can't wait. You know, it's going to be the highlight of the season, no doubt. And, you know, to come back there as the defending champion is going to be unreal. So I can't wait for the month of May, and especially with this team. You know, we're so fast there last year, and I have every reason to believe we're going to be as fast or even better this year. So, yeah, can't wait.
The championship leader, Marcus Ericsson, a podium at Long Beach. Dave.
Colton Herta finishes 4th today. Colton, what more did you need to be on the top of the podium?
You know, I think we just need to start up a little bit further. You know, I think that would have helped a little bit. But I felt really good, you know. It felt like having a double-double right after the race. Just felt right. You know, the vibes are good, everyone's happy, and I'm excited for the upcoming race. We got a really strong package for these next few races, too.
Nice in and out reference there. I'll take that with fries. Let me ask you this. Your dad is in victory lane over there. I asked him this morning about coaching, actually a signal calling now for Kyle Kirkwood. He said the only weird thing is I'm racing against my kid. I'm trying to beat him. What's it like to get beat by him?
Yeah, not so happy about that. We had dinner last night, and we were planning that he was going to let me by around lap 50 and tell Kyle that he had a little bit of a fuel problem, but it must have got handled differently. But no, happy for them, happy for Andretti Autosport as a whole. Great first win for Kyle. He drove perfectly from what I could see, and yeah, Andretti 1-2-4, so good with that.
All right, so from here, we got another road course race. We got a little Indianapolis happening soon as well. What are you looking forward to most on the weeks heading out of here? You've obviously had strength in the 26 car.
Yeah, you know, it's obviously it's change of pace now. We're getting into some more permanent road courses and places that we've been quick before. You know, Barber we haven't had a great result at yet, but we've had fast race cars. Obviously, we've won at Indy GP, and then we got the big one at the end of the month there. But yeah, taking it one step at a time and one race at a time, and now focus on Barber. I think we got a really good package, just like today.
All right, strong day today. We'll go from the 4th place Herta to the 1st place Herta, Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with Dad, Brian Herta, that you were just referencing, Dave. So, man, you've won Indy 500s. As a strategist, you've done a little bit of everything. But what's the significance of bringing a young driver his first win and being part of that group?
I tell you what, Kyle Kirkwood did a great job, and for me, it's really satisfying. Got to be part of a young driver's first pole yesterday here, and now to be part of his first IndyCar win. And I think it's safe to say this won't be the last time we see Kyle Kirkwood in Victory Circle, but it's sure fun to be part of the first one.
How bad did Andretti Autosport just need something good to happen? And did you guys know Long Beach would be a place where you could make something happen?
I mean, it's nice when it happens, but I don't think, especially this year, there's a good confidence, there's a good energy in the team. And even when things didn't go perfect the first couple races, I don't think anybody started feeling like we weren't, you know, the team that we thought we could be.
and this is a nice confirmation of that. It's going to be a tough season, right? There'll be bad weekends too, but hopefully have a few more like this as well.
Yeah, the last couple of years you've been on your son Colton's timing stand. You had to make the move a couple of weeks ago to Kyle Kirkwood. What did you do to kind of get up to speed with Kyle and learn him as a young driver so quickly?
I mean, I don't know. He was easy because he's, despite his relative inexperience, he's got probably the most successful junior open wheel career of any American driver ever. So he's a pretty seasoned guy. And what I told him before the race is, you've won so many races, you know how to win it, and this is no different. So. And he just executed. You know, he got fuel numbers when we needed fuel numbers. He opened gaps when we needed open gaps. He just did everything we asked him to do, and victory lane was the result.
I'll tell you what, just 2 races in, you win one of the crown jewels. He may be your driver forever now.
I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, Kyle's a great driver. I like being with Colton. You know, he's always first in my heart, but this has been fun, and I'm really proud of what Kyle did today.
And for the Herta family, also their hometown race, so a special win on that note as well.
And Marty, a really solid day for Alex Palou as well. He's had 3 strong finishes to start off this season to stay in the championship mix. 5th right now, but that last stint really got you a lot of spots. Tell me how you made it through.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was a bit of a sour day today for us. We had a strong car. We were running really good at the beginning and then caught up on the Patos incident. And I just got stuck there. I saw a lot of cars flying by. I think we were like 12th or 13th. So yeah, super happy that we recovered back to 5th. Great pit stops. The speed of the car was amazing. So yeah, looking forward to Barber now.
So the start of the season, how do you assess things? Obviously the goal for you as a former champion is championship. Are you where you need to be at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. We're like top 5 in the championship, so that's good. It was a messy race at St. Pete, a messy race here. It was an okay race at Texas, so yeah, I'm happy where we are. Cannot wait now to see when the season starts again at Barber, Indy, and see where we are there.
All right, Alex Palou comes home 5th, and he is 3rd in the championship right now.
What a day here in Long Beach. 3 races so far this year in the NTT IndyCar Series. 3 different winners, including a first-timer. The young Floridian Kyle Kirkwood is now an IndyCar race winner. This checkered flag moment is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, and of course, it's got to be the Auto Nation Honda pilot, Kyle Kirkwood. Strategist Brian Herta, team owner Michael Andretti, celebrating this talented young American's maiden victory on these famed streets. That one lasts a lifetime. And it vaults him, are you ready for it? 14 positions. Look on the right-hand side of your screen. 14 positions north to a top 5.
Gotta love that. Perfect weekend for Kyle Kirkwood. He came in, we talked about just needing to finish an IndyCar race, and now he comes out of here a championship contender.
Marcus Ericsson retakes the championship lead as he did at the end of the season opener. Let's hear from some more drivers.
How about Will Power, who parlays a 13th place starting spot, not the greatest, into a 6th place finish? How'd you do it?
Yeah, it was good fuel save and tire conservation there. We said in the strategy meeting, if we get a yellow around the lap 20, that's the worst for us starting on black tires. But it's very conscious on the restart and everything not to slip the tire and just try to look after it best I could and get the number, and that's what we did, and drive as hard as I could. You're like doing a qualifying lap every lap, but you're lifting, you know, early obviously to conserve the fuel.
And you don't sneeze at that process of the fuel conservation and the tire conservation because you've been good at it. It's won you races.
Oh yeah, it's right in my wheelhouse. I mean, I've been doing it for so many years. It's you know, a very big part of IndyCar racing is saving fuel. So I'm pretty happy when I hear the whole field's got to get this number because usually we can go a bit quicker and get the number at the same time. So.
Well, I'm wondering if today is a little bit of hearing last year in your head. Hey, we did this the right way last year. We won the championship.
Oh yeah, that's the only way to tackle it, man. Like, you can't even think about who's ahead of you or what. Just what you're doing in the moment. Just extract the most out of it and make good decisions. So it's simple as that. And you know, lucky to have Verizon re-sign with me and Penske re-sign me, and got a very, very good group of people around me, so I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of fun doing this. It's fantastic.
More good things to come in 2023 at the end of April and throughout May, Kevin.
Another really impressive performance for 22-year-old rookie Kiwi Marcus Armstrong. 8th place today. What was that like at this most prestigious race?
Yeah, it was, honestly, it was a fairly uneventful race from where I was sitting. I was just sort of sitting in a rhythm and trying to save a lot of fuel, and I knew that chaos would happen at some point, and I just wanted to capitalize on that. But honestly, the race was made a lot easier for me just by having such a well-balanced car. So it was a pleasure to drive my Chip Ganassi racing car today.
Coming over from the Formula One world in F2 where you won multiple times, what's been the biggest adjustment for you to these different cars and circuits that you just don't know?
I think the tire is, I mean, to get really boring for you, the tire is quite robust, so you can push really hard on it, which is really fantastic because I'm used to having to really manage that. And here it feels like I can just drive the wheels off of it and not really suffer any consequences, so that's really fun.
Well done. Marcus Armstrong continues to impress as a rookie for Chip Ganassi Racing, Dave.
With Joseph Newgarden now, who challenged in a different way today, a couple of different times. I'm wondering what the emotions are at the end of today for you.
Well, you know what they say, bad day in LA is better than a good day anywhere else. So, no, I'm sad for my team. Honestly, we had a phenomenal race car, really great. You know, we were chipping away all weekend. It's been tough to put the laps together all the way up through qualifying, and I felt like that was kind of our weakness, was just getting everything together. You know, we had good peak potential, but just couldn't realize it. And in the race, I mean, we really had it together. That car was absolutely phenomenal. So Team Chevy did a great job for us. The whole 2-car, you know, with Team Hitachi did amazing. You know, fate didn't really go our way in the beginning. I think for our strategy, the yellow did not help us one bit. If there was no yellow in that beginning and we would have gone green a little longer, I think we would have been real pretty. But even with the yellow, we were making the most of it, and I think we still had a shot at winning that race. But then something else did us in and just made, you know, the end pretty brutal.
And that something else was particularly?
I'm not 100% sure yet, but, you know, just something we had to overcome, essentially.
All right, 10-4, hard-fought day for Joseph Newgarden, who ran out front early, Marty.
Boy, it winds up being a 17th for Pato award today, but there's a lot of story to tell from this race after being so quick in practices earlier this weekend. First of all, the contact with Scott Dixon. He wasn't very happy about it. He said, if this is the way the series wants to race, we probably need to change the way I race. Your take on that?
I was on the inside. He decided to stay on the outside, and, well, I'm pretty much alongside him, nose in front of his, or at least alongside his, so... yeah, don't know what to say. I mean, I've been racing Scott for a few years. If he feels like that was my fault, well, sorry you feel that way, but I don't agree. The other issue that I had in turn 8, completely my fault. I feel bad. I let my team down. I let the amazing crowd that came out today. By the time that I kind of remembered to stop the car, it was already too late, and just kind of squeezed myself. I didn't want to take out Kirkwood, so I just kind of slammed on the brakes and locked the rears and just spun. But yeah, it's been definitely a weekend not to forget. I think there's a lot of positives that we can take out of this weekend, but obviously just disappointed in myself. I don't have to be making those stupid moves. Just not up to the level that I expect from myself.
With the Scott situation, is that one of those situations where you feel like you need to go have a chat with him?
I mean, I'm sure I'll circle back with him either this weekend or the next one, but I'm not going to apologize for that. We're racing, so a lot of the times when I've been in that situation, I kind of just let the guy go, because you know, if you're on the outside, you're more vulnerable to those things happening. So, yeah.
Good news is you get back in the car this week. Indy Open Test coming up. Are you excited for that?
Yeah, I am. This is a race to just learn from and forget. And onto Indy. That's the start of our 500 this year. And then onto Barber, which is one of my favorite tracks.
And the cool thing, I think, Diff, check out the crowd here for Pato. He's going to sign a few autographs. He's going to take some pictures. They're here to support him, even though it was not the day that he wanted.
Listen to them. Every track we go to, there is the Pato contingent. They love this young man. Born in Mexico, spent a long time, a lot of his young life in San Antonio, Texas. As he's saying thanks to his fan base. He loses the lead of the championship. He does sit second, and there's been a lot of response to this race and to this Andretti Autosport 1-2, including from Marco Andretti. Awesome execution team. And to Brian Herter, to Romain Grosjean, and to his dad, Michael Andretti. Granddad Mario is here to watch this proud moment. So, very cool stuff. Very cool indeed. And an enjoyable weekend here at the Grand Prix of Long Beach. Hey, want to remind you about something pretty cool as well. That is Mrs. Davis. And it's the world's most powerful artificial intelligence. Simone is the nun devoted to destroying her. From a co-executive producer of The Big Bang Theory and co-creator of Watchmen and Lost comes Mrs. Davis, a new original series streaming on April 20th only on Peacock. And the star, one of the stars, Jake McDorman, was here, and the Indianapolis 500 winner Marcus Ericsson signed a helmet for him, got to meet him, they got to chat. Jake was at the front of the grid earlier today, so an enjoyable day for him as well. As this Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach has come to a close, yet again, it hasn't disappointed.
It never does here at Long Beach, and you love seeing the emotion out of a first-time winner. Such a cool story for Kyle Kirkwood to not just get his first IndyCar win, but to get it here at such a special place. You see that emotion. It's years of your life, your career, all culminate in this moment, proving to yourself that you can win it. And then I also love to hear the honesty out of Pozzo Ward. He put his hand up, say, hey, that incident was my fault. I let the team down. He's still very much in this championship fight. A lot of racing to go. He's still in it.
Yeah, and you saw the enthusiasm out of Michael Andretti. Heard there on the tweet from Marco Andretti. For the Andretti family here at Long Beach, they've had success in the past. They started the season pretty rough, but to get it all right here under the sun in Southern California, it's a great feeling. So the team looking strong as we move into the meat of the season.
And Kyle Kirkwood joins names like Alonso Jr., Elio Castro Neves, the great Mario Andretti, and more, who have won the pole position and driven all the way from pole to victory lane, adding to this magnificent day for this young man. A quick reminder that on Peacock Live later this week, you'll see on Thursday and Friday the open test from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the cars will be on track. 7 hours of coverage on Thursday, 6 hours of coverage on Friday. Can't wait for that, because all roads lead to the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Indy 500 coming up this Memorial Day weekend. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here for the NTT IndyCar Series in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. We again congratulate Kyle Kirkwood. Coming up next, it's your local news, except here on the West Coast. On behalf of the entire team, this is Lee Diffie saying thanks for watching IndyCar here on NBC Sports.